Hello, welcome back. Yes, hello. I hope doing well. I hope you were waiting for this moment, hear me? Because here it comes. The cringe, the madness, and everything. Also, thank you so much for listening to me yesterday, by the way. I don't know, I feel like because I couldn't talk with anyone, like because my family doesn't know English that much, so we said it too loud. I see. Thank you. I was about to ask that too. Hear me? Is it better? Let me drink some water. So thank you again for listening to me because I have no one to talk to about that at all. And I thought I was the only one who thought that it was ridiculous. So I thought it was like, maybe I'm the one who is weird? It's better, isn't it? Okay, so I have to rush into it a little bit because I found out that some posts got deleted. I don't think it was from malicious intention because I think it goes like someone who replied deleted, so the other guy deleted their reply to the other person. So so you are now my personal psychologist now. Trust me, Aki. No, where is your evidence? Present evidence now, Mr. Right. Hear me? Damn, now I want to play Phoenix Wright. No, I can finish Umineko first. Yeah. Anyway, so we're here. It's different from our normal stream. We are not gaming today, as the title shows. So quick context. I was involved in so far in my life to Ace Attorney webinar. I didn't say that I would not finish Umineko. I still can finish Umineko, of course. Anyway, the context is I was involved into online discussion or discourse or whatever you call it. I think it's as good a time as any to go through it now because you don't know when they are going to get deleted. You don't know when people are going to get banned and lost the text, the secret text forever. So I think of this like a what's it called? A test before I make a video, maybe some days. Anyway, so I was involved in a Reddit discussion and Steam discussion. I would want to start with Reddit, but the Steam one is the ongoing one, and I don't know if anyone will decide to delete them soon. So I want to go through it right away. So I'll give some context first. Hear me? So there was, I think the context is so nonsense. So it goes. There was someone who reviewed on Subnautica. Also, I hope the text is big enough. I think I tried zooming it a lot. It's too big for me, but I don't know if it's enough for most people. Like I'm watching on my tablet too, and it looks okay, but I'm not sure how it would look on the phone, for example. Hear me? Is it okay? Hear me? I think I can just turn on my phone, actually. We'll see. It's okay on PC, of course, but maybe I'll watch on my screen too. I don't remember if I can watch my own stream. Actually, is that something we can do? Do we have the technology? Oh, okay, it looks pretty good. All right. Wow. I have to zoom like 200% to get this. All right then. It looks so big on my screen. So the review was not recommended. I'm pretty sad, to be fair. I have watched a lot of my favorite streamer stream this game, so I have nothing. I have no thoughts on this game at all. Although I have no intention to pay it unless it's on discount or free or anything. So they just so the review goes like, oh boy, how terrible! I read EULA is end user license agreement. I'll try to articulate English better on this stream before quitting and defending the whole thing. Here's some highlights to laugh and cry about. I don't know if it's he or she, but they're like, you get a license, you don't buy the game, of course, you don't allow to publish the coding screenshot, blah blah blah. Like, cannot upload content on paid platform, take away access at any point without reason, terms of agreement can change at any point, blah blah blah. So pretty standard license agreement, and then they ended with all of this would maybe not even be applicable under California law, but who knows what is, because I don't even know. I'm not in there, so don't ask me. Hear me? In any case, it's worth thinking about. So whatever it is, they spent 0.6 hours, so I think that was like, what, 40 minutes? To probably just read the pop-up license agreement, and then they said, nah, and then refund, I guess. So very interesting. And then and then a discussion happened, and we'll see. So full disclaimer first, what you see here is not the real name. I use Firefox add plugin extension to replace people of interest name. Let's go with that, because I don't want people who watch the VOD later, for example, to go harass people. As I type and pin in the chat, I think despite everything that happened, they are really normal people to me. So I hacked Steam with yeah, I hacked them with inspect element, but nah. But anyway. But other than that, I left everything intact. I didn't type all this, for example. So this is not me. All right. So I changed the names and nothing else. It would be horrible if I managed to edit everything. But anyway, so someone brought the title was someone brought a 50-page thesis. It says, I think it was actually like what, 30 or 40 bullet points, but it's a hyperbole, so I don't even care. Well, proof that I didn't did anything else. You're gonna have to trust me, bruh. Hear me? But I actually printed into PDF just in case someone changed anything. So that's that. Like at least I try to be safe. But there's no 100% certainty on archiving that. Hear me? I wish I could read. I don't know what it is. I don't know. I'm so sorry. Hear me? So it says 50-page thesis about EULA after 0.6 hours. I destroyed with facts. Hear me? So it says. So this says, I don't know the gender. More discussion. Oh, you mean that one? I mean, people love this game, I think. This link goes to this review, so we saw that. And they said, yeah, I read the entire review. After reading actual EULA, Steam agreement, consumer protection laws across multiple countries, this this person really have a lot of time in their hands. Even I don't have that much time on my hands, so I don't know how they read all the laws on those. But okay, so they says, so they claim, here is a point by point takedown of every single thing mentioned in the review. I'm linking review below. Disclaimer: this post was originally written in German by a non-native English speaker, translated with translation through whatever that is, and formatted using a Python script I wrote myself. I like how it says the name of the file, because that tells me nothing. Like, oh yeah, I wrote the script and I used it, and the name is this one, and yeah, like we know what that means. But okay, so if it looks such, I don't have problem with that, by the way. I'm just joking around. So on stream, I'll try to be more, like lighthearted. But I guess on video, I'll be like more serious about it. So it looks suspiciously well structured. It is script's fault, not ChatGPT's. Well, already preempt the AI accusation. The research and opinions are entirely mine. Let's start with opening claim. You get a license, you don't buy the game, of course. And it says, yeah, Steam literally forced you to accept that, which is true, I guess. It is worth. Yeah, but then why do the game has to add more of them, right? I'm not sure if I should read off them or I should just paraphrase everything so we can get to the meat, which is my argument with someone. I don't want to call them anything at this point. So they're saying this is not something special about this game, so everyone do it. So that's fair. Cannot publish recording. So it says, yeah, it's because the game is in early access. So I'm gonna tell you this now. In the EULA, they didn't say anything about why this rule exists. So they didn't say that because it's in early access, we don't let you do that. So I'm just going to tell you now that if this person doesn't give you citation or sources, I don't know what it is either, because it's not in the license agreement. So don't ask me, all right? Because I don't even know. You use your Python script to format my stream. I am now fat 32. No, I'm fat. No way. Not fat 64. No, not X fat even. How dare you say? Anyway, and then Captain can take over access at any point, and this one just says everyone do it, and that's it. Terms can change at any point without notice. And it says every service does online service does that. So also remember that the license agreement doesn't give you context. So whatever this person says, I can't prove it unless I go around and read everything. Remote access, this person claim is for debugging, anti-cheat, telemetry, and crash reporting. I'm going to say this right now. They didn't say anything about that in the license agreement, so I have no idea where the person is pulling all this intelligent from. Cannot play on more than one device. It says, yeah, it's just DRM, so you can't just play on multiple devices at the same time. Cannot modify game illegally, and if you do, Krafton owns the modification. It says it's a IP law, so and every modding community operates with explicit company permission. So they claim, I don't know if he or she. So they claims cannot tarnish reputation. In this, at this one, they just claim that it's not enforceable in some countries. Do you see what's missing? I don't see any Asia country, maybe except Australia if that counts. But so you know, what about me? Cannot deceive or exploit Crafton. I'm not sure if they are publisher or developers, by the way, but they were named in the license agreement itself. So it says, yeah, it's already law that fraud is prohibited, deception is prohibited. But well, I don't know. Then why did they put this one in the license agreement then, right? Cannot exploit bugs. 0.6 hours played. You are upset that an online multiplayer game. Which is not, because on Steam, it says single player and co-op. So this one is already pretty dicey. Description. There's no word reputation in EULA. I think it's not. Remember that they were part of it. Oh, and you have to change the date too, because the review was made on 14 May. So that means you can't choose the more recent one. So you have to choose the older one. I don't remember if there's reputation. Oh, there we go. So I guess the new one doesn't have one, but because the review before they make a new one, so you have to look at the old one. So yeah, it's there. So you can't harm the reputation of blah 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 blah. So yeah, hear me? But wow, you're looking with me. Nice, thank you. In blah 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 blah. So that one just says it doesn't apply in some country, except my country apparently. Cannot deceive, cannot exploit bug. If you found a bug that duplicate resources or that you instantly kill other players, would you want the company to not be able to punish that? Without this clause, every exploiter can sue for being banned. So the thing is, they say that, but the EULA didn't say anything. What's my EULA effective date? May 1st. Hear me? So choose here. So it was probably published on April, but effective date is May 1st. Hear me? Wow, it's like interactive game we are playing together. Nice. You found May 21, 2026. Yeah, you have to. Okay, well, why didn't I just share that? There we go. And then select this date and change to April. And so it says 20 April, but the effective date is May 1st. So that one is also not in the license agreement. Cannot use external programs such as macros or something, or cheat engine. Every multiplayer game on Earth has these Call of Duty bans from macros. Valorant. Yeah, well, I don't think Subnautica, Call of Duty, or Valorant, my guy. Also Apex. Well, I didn't know that Subnautica is actually similar to Apex, but you learn something new every day. Without this clause, the game has zero protection against cheaters. It's not controversial. It's minimum. They say. Cannot have indecent nicknames. Or my link doesn't want to load on your end, so you stay looking at the. What? Why does it not work? Oh, did they? That can't be, right? I can open it fine, but I guess they did something that I might not want to touch on. So cannot have indecent nicknames or cause negative association. In the review that says maybe Death or Killer would be banned. I mean, the reviewer doesn't know. I don't know. I don't know which one is indecent or negative, right? But this person is really sure that, yeah, for sure, that would never be what's going to happen. Hear me? Can I use someone else's account? So account def would be legal. I'm not sure why that would lead to that, because I might want to borrow my family's account, who knows? But okay, can I use a VPN? Yeah, I guess the review says, wonder why. VPNs enable price manipulation, buying games from cheaper regional stores. I feel like that one should have been Steam problem, not the game problem, but okay. Fair. Bad evasion, early access regional variation, and flawed cover up. I don't know where this is coming from, but so they claim. Every major game company has this restriction. So okay, so I'm going to spoil it immediately. There is someone says that even Ubisoft, they don't just ban VPN. They just says don't use VPN to cheat, I think. So even Ubisoft has narrower scope of their license agreement. Hear me? Cannot spam content from the game. Spam has a clear legal meaning. Automated content scraping and mass posting is abuse. It says, cannot take action that go against social norms. All caps, I am not kidding. This clause targets illegal activity. To be fair, the reviewers just says social norms. So in the license agreement, they have, well, actually, norm. Yeah, there we go. Prohibited by applicable laws. My English is going to die. Unacceptable by social norms. So it's separated. But for whatever reason, this person just combine them together. Harassment and harmful conducts. Okay, well, why didn't they just write that then? What does social norms mean? But does that mean I cannot cosplay while playing this game? Or can I not... well, I don't know, there's a lot of social norms, right? I can't play this game in dirty rooms. I mean, that's kind of against social norms too. So it's really broad, is what I'm saying. Cannot create content based on IP. Oh, that's a highlight. So I made sure to highlight every instance where people accuse the reviewer of dishonesty. It will be important later. Hear me? The clause does not say your fan art belongs to Crafton. To be fair, they didn't say anything. They just said any content you make based on the IP without their consent, they will own it. So how are we gonna know that? It's a social norms to not you know what? All this time, I read the license agreement and arguing with the person online. Not once has I thought about that at all. You're right. Oh no, we can't play this game. Of course. Oh my god, we've got a lawyer in the chat. My god. I know, right? So it says, I'm going to spoil it immediately. So cannot modify their rebuttal to this reviewer point has been I guess debunk might be strong of a word, but have been disputed by someone else. So this one might not even be true. And for this one also has been disputed by other people as well, so might not also be true. No guarantee of smooth gameplay. This game is early access. Yeah, but again, they don't have the context in the EULA. I'm not gonna go through all the license agreement, all right? Because everyone can check for themselves. My post already link every reviewer's point in this post to the points in the EULA, so people can just go check it out. If by some reason this discussion got nuked, I still have a backup, which is my PDF, so people can still look at them themselves. I will post it if it got nuked for some reason. The study each word and no, please don't. I don't have time for that. I'll be honest here. I also have DeepSeek analyze the EULA as well, but I did read it, but I want to be extra sure. So my God, AI is really convenient in that regard. Maximum liability of 50 American dollars. In the EU, the cross limit liability are unfair and have no binding force. So to paraphrase, to summarize, so the law will protect you. It doesn't work in some country, except Asia, I guess. Using documentations means you give up the right to sue. The reviewer, how do you know their gender? Not sure if the EULA counts as documentation, but then concludes it. I'm going to spoil it here too. They claim that they conclude it, but in the review, it says, oh great, the OP doesn't even bother be accurate with their copy. I think it was, there we go. Not sure if the documentation, not sure if license agreement is documentation, but if so, means if that is true, I don't know if it's true, but if it is true, it's a hypothetical. So this one also misrepresent the OP. Asia doesn't exist. I'm not real. I was lying to you all along. Actually, I was underwater. Wait, no. I was on the moon. On the moon, of course, with the human. Glory to mankind. Hear me? Don't you know that we are still in near automata? No right to refund. And then it says Steam refund policy, blah 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 blah, let you refund, blah blah blah. You know what's funny? The reviewer actually already said, unless forced to by law or enforced by the platform the game was sold on. So this one is a complete misrepresentation of the review. So good job, okay, them. And must fight them in California under US law. So I think it's a jurisdiction problem. So it's normal, I guess. But it doesn't apply in some not enforceable in some country, I guess. No judge, jury, or arbitration. And this one claims, well, everyone do it. So whatever. Must provide personal information to dispute copyright death. It says literally how the MCA works. You must provide real identity. The EU has its own enforcement rules. So they argue that, oh, this license agreement is literally how the American law works, but then they said, oh, but don't worry, other countries have their own law too. And I was stuck like, so what does that mean? Then like why did they write that then? I'm so confused. Like, if it's obvious, if it's also already a law somewhere, why would you still write it down? But whatever. Must be 18 to pay despite lower age ratings. The license agreement is a legally binding contract. Feels a little bit wrong when you said that a lot of them cannot be enforced, but okay. I get what they're saying. Like, it's a, whether it's enforceable or not, it is a contract, so fair enough. minors cannot enter by the contract without parents, so they need parent consents. That's what they say. Harvest data. And they say literally, it happens in every online game, and also how anti-cheat work, how server function, blah blah blah. Also, if you're in EU, wow, I wish I'm in EU too. Oh, what does European Union sounds like a consumer heaven or something? I wish I'm in there too. Hear me? Can I can I move my continent to EU? So yeah, there's a privacy law to protect you if you're in those countries. If you're not in those country, I don't know, sucks to sucks, I guess. And I don't know what this paragraph is for. And here's the most devastating thing. Oh my god, so they say the entire thread is ignoring. Crafton lost a lawsuit. They're no longer even listed as the publisher. Oh cool, but when you look at the end user agreement, what do you see? Crafton. So what do you expect people to blame? Which company then? Like, come on, like this person. Okay, I'm deserving my judgment. And the final reality check for the reviewer. Oh my god! Consumer protection laws in most countries around the world share the same fundamental principle. Contract terms that create an unfair imbalance between consumer rights and business rights are void. Okay, then why did they write all this nonsense in their license agreement then? Okay, blah blah blah. So the agreements, not agreements. The argument goes that it's in there. Every company do it. Every company does it. If every company does it, countries stop them from enforcing anyway. So you have nothing to worry about. Hear me? So that's what they said. So anyway, I'm not gonna read all the comments, by the way. I'm going to read the only comment that I find issue with. I shut GPT. I don't care if this was written by AIs, because arguing who writes this is a waste of time to me. So I never say anything about that. So the OP, which I think I accidentally show a little bit, but that's okay. He says, they say, so sorry, don't mean to assume the gender. I do not want to offend anyone. I just want to say that it is trash writing a review on a game after playing it for 0.6 hours and then complaining about refunding and stuff. That's just dumb. Alright. That one I don't have much problem with. And then no company is going to sue a kid for using a speed hat. I mean, how do you know? These things look scary in a 50... this one was made by the OP too, in a 50-page review, but they are standard across basically every service and mostly toothless. Alright then, so they say, that doesn't mean the license agreement is good. It means we need to push for better regulation, not spread misinformation about what's actually enforceable. And how do you push for better regulation if you don't raise awareness, my guy? I'm so confused about this person. But anyway, any more in this page? Not that one. I think that's it on this page. Oh! Oopsie. This one is... the OP. I want people to have fun with the game. Writing an entire essay that make people unnecessarily scared about something that won't actually affect them. That just creates a toxic atmosphere. They say. This one is the guy that I have been arguing with, personally, because when I joined the discussion, this person, the OP, already peace out. Hear me? This person says, the relevant question is is this unusual in the game industry? Yeah, how would the reviewer know? It's somewhat dishonest. Alright, that's a accusation there. To leave a negative review complaining about unfair license agreement terms on a platform that enforce similarly unfair terms on all games, they say. Hear me? So that's one accusation there. And I think that's it for now. So I read like 100 comments before I skip ahead and then type down myself. Okay, but let me see. Okay, this person argued against the OP 7th point, and the OP later acknowledged that it was a good point. Hear me? I'm also not a lawyer, and yet they says I destroy it with facts. Hear me? You're still here. There's just too much English. That's fair. Hear me? Also, thank you for still being here. I know it's a difficult topic to follow. I think I'll just skip ahead to my what's it called comment. So after I read the comments, oh my god, someone gave me the what's it called sticker award. All right, thank you whoever gave me the award. Beautiful words cannot describe, so this award we have to do. Thank you. A little bit wasted on me, but I'm glad that someone read it. So this is me. I think some people saw this account when I play Battlefield 6. I draw this picture, by the way. Don't mean to brag, of course. So I said, a lot of people have already said what I want to say. So let me ask you this instead, OP, because I didn't know that OP peace out at this stage. So what should the reviewer do? Cute picture, by the way. Thank you. I drew this like what 3 years ago. Hear me? I haven't changed the profile picture for so long. So what should the reviewer do? Because I saw that I think the reviewers' points are mostly accurate to the official license agreement, no less. The license agreement doesn't give any additional context, so I was a little bit confused, and so I say, your overall arguments are, it is unenforceable in some countries. Yeah, so screw other countries then, because I was like, what about me? What about Asia? Does Asia don't exist to you guys? How cool! People forgot about me. Anyway, and that it is standard practice. Hear me? None of those invalidate the reviewer's criticism. Hear me? For example, should the reviewer copy-paste their reviews across other games, assuming your assertions about the EULA being common are right? You know, an assertion that they never prove for some reason. Or should they just be silent and never criticize? Or should they review and criticize the game they personally care about, which is my position, by the way? Which actions applied consistently across society as a whole are more practical and beneficial to society? Hear me? Because you can't just make special exception just because it's your favorite games, right? Like, if anyone complain about Red Alert 2, I'm not gonna get in there and like attack them as a dishonesty or whatever, right? And here are some criticisms of your arguments that I wish to highlight. You reply to other commenters. Crap. You saw nothing. To other people's comment. So the OP comment, I don't get it. Yeah, my arguments aren't the best. But that's because I wrote that without being a lawyer, and just after a few hours since game got released. Why do people lash so much? Yeah, about that, allow me to suggest one possible answer to your question. Your title already invites hostility. You are framing the review as wholly irrational. Our games are trash. We shouldn't play it. Let's live a life. No, you're telling me to touch grass? No. But what about me as a streamer? Do I have to touch grass too? I have no grass. I'm allergic to grass. Hear me? So that's allergies. As irrational, and your arguments are all factual. It was not a thesis. The review was not a thesis, and the review was not 50 pages long. Nor are all of your rebuttals factual, since other replies, like those people, disputed your arguments. And not only are you arguing against the thesis, but you also claim you are destroying it. So I quote the title, right? Because he says, like he later says, I wrote that without being a lawyer. Why do people lash so much? Yet your title is like, someone wrote a 50-page thesis about LA after 0.6 hours. I destroyed it with facts. Like, okay, well, that was a huge contradiction. That EULA is forcible in my country, so stop playing games. True. Yeah, but the thing is, it's not even that common, I guess. But to be fair, I don't play a lot of harsh games anyway. But yeah, so my position is not that, oh my god, we should not play game because of EULA. My position is, why are you attacking this review as dishonest, fear-mongering, when the review is factual experience of the official legal document? Like, if I don't trust legal document, what am I supposed to trust? Right? Like, I feel like my logic is pretty normal here, right? Hear me? Yet you strawman him right in the first rebuttal. You treat this like it is a Crafton-specific villain's origin story when it has been the universal standard for 15 years across every digital game ever sold. I think it's it was the point in number 1 where you're not buying the game, you're buying the license. Hear me? So I said, you made the assertion despising and putting in the sentence from the review, which says you get a license, you don't buy the game. And it also says, of course. What do you think of course mean in this context? It means the reviewer knows that it is a common practice at this point, and they still are not happy about it. Hear me? You also answered a reply about bug abuse clause as below. On the bug abuse clause, that one is literally in the section about online services and multiplayer behavior. So I skim the EULA. So I'm against that EULA, right? I don't like it. I wouldn't base my purchasing decision on the EULA. But I wouldn't stop anyone from complaining about the EULA either. I guess my position is ultimately free speech arguments, I guess. As long as they don't introduce anything that is fabrication or not even in the EULA. Hear me? Anyway, I skimmed the back clause, and the back clause appears under section 3 prohibited uses, which says what's this called again? Section S, subsection S, exploit errors and bugs found while playing the game, the documents, or using the services. No, I couldn't find a separated section about online services and multiplayer behavior. So I can't even find the word multiplayer only online. So I saw no separated online section. So this one is not true. Hear me? You were willing to be generous to the publishers by saying that they have no rationale to punish exploits in single player. But across your arguments, you have never extended such generosity to the review. If the EULA will be invalidated by law or self-restraint, why do they write all this EULA in the first place? Hear me? So yes, the original review did air the grievances or complaints that are already common in the other games. Some points are invalid, but that does not make a valid criticism any weaker. So again, what should the reviewer do to satisfy you? To which this person replied to me, I'm not the OP, but I'll respond briefly on his behalf. I agree with the OP's post, so they say, and the OP has retired from this trade in large part because he is a native German speaker, so it is hard for him to post in English. They quote my question about what should the reviewer do, and they answered, quoting the EULA he was attacking would be a good start. Aki, I choose the wrong profession. I should be a lawyer. I don't want to. I hate reading. I actually hate reading. Like you saw me doing all that, but that doesn't mean I like to do that. Like, I'm just here like, okay. Let me explain myself first. I'm here not because I hate the EULA, not because I like the EULA, not because I hate this game, not because I like this game, not because I hate the company, not because I like the company. I'm just here literally because I want the answer to this question. Like, okay, what should a good reviewer in these people's eyes do? Because I want to learn. Like, alright, maybe I can be a better person in the future or something. So maybe they got proof or evidence, right? So I was like, alright. So I started the discussion not because I want to be like, where's your evidence? Present evidence, damn you. Like that wasn't my goal. When I first involved myself with the discussion like that, it's just ultimately just asking, okay, what should I do, or what should the other reviewers do? Then that's it. I was just curious. That's all. Quoting the EULA he was attacking will be good start. I think I can guess that the reviewer read the EULA pop up in games. So I assume that they can't just copy paste in the review, and the reviewer doesn't want to make more effort and search for EULA outside the game. So I guess what happened is, while the game is open, the reviewer typed into the review while reading the terms in the game. I think that explains a lot. Hear me? Or at least linking to EULA and where appropriate, considering that specific EULA terms are very common among games from AAA publishers. Okay, how does a person concede that the terms are very common if they haven't read other EULAs, right? You see where this is going, right? Like when I saw this answer, I know that things are getting worse from that point. Hear me? The review is written to insinuate. Okay. Wait, is that the right way to spell that? Let me see. Is that insinuate? Yeah, it's insinuate. God damn it. Anyway, Crafton is going far beyond what a typical items are, so you should skip Subnautica 2, but you can still play other AAA games. No, they didn't say that. They just don't recommend this game. Nor did they say any far beyond what typical EULA terms, because the reviewer said nothing about whether the EULA is common. Insinuate. Okay, then let's not make fun of the mistake. He says while he says while making fun of it. So sorry. I didn't mean to make fun of it. So sorry. This insinuation is what the OP and myself trying to compare. The terms are anti-consumer, anti-privacy, and generally bad, but that's pretty much one of the meal for AAA EULAs, something along the lines of don't buy this game because it has a typical AAA EULA, especially these terms would be sufficient. Alright. And he quote me say, they quote me saying, you made the assertion despite seeing and putting in the sentence from the review, which says, you get a license, you don't play the game. Of course, what do you think of course means? It means the viewer knows that it is common practice at this point, and they're still not happy about it. Of course, it could be interpreted as meaning this singular term is industry standard. Yeah, but the OP didn't say that. Alright. But the other terms are not. That's certainly how I interpreted these, and I suspect that this was the reviewer's intention in including this bullet point. They claim. Are they talking about Sub 2 and other games? Yeah. The reviewer just talk about. Also, if you want to read the review for some reason, yeah, it just says, oh boy, how terrible. I read the EULA before quitting and refunding the whole thing. And they're like, blah, 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 blah. It's a paraphrase or summarize of the EULA they found in the game. And all of this would be applicable in the laws. Like, they never say anything about, oh my god, this game is, oh my god, I read every EULA and I found that this Subnautica 2 EULA is the worst in the entire world. They didn't say that. So I don't. Why bring out other games then? True. Thank you. Yeah, that's what I thought too. Like what do you mean? Yeah, like what is this person talking about? Yeah, thank you. I was so scared. Like, wait, is this? Am I the strange one? Oh my god, thank you. Like I'm so confused. And then they quote me when I said about, okay, the bug clause, where the OP claimed that the bug clause was under some section about multiplayer. I couldn't find it. I'm just gonna call this guy M. Alright? So that I don't have to keep calling them this guy. M. M says that is clearly an error. He might have. How do you know that it's he? He might have been how do we know their gender? I'm so confused. He may have been trying to say this was copied from the PUBG EULA, and that's an online-only game. So the clause is clearly referring to online only. Oh my god, that's a huge stretch, to be fair. But I'm okay with that. But he claimed there was an online section in the SN2 EULA, and there is not. So he was just factly wrong, and in a very significant way. It happens. You see the contrast here? The OP is wrong. Flatly wrong. It happens. But when the reviewer says everything about EULA, I suspect my intention is to make this game look bad. Like you see how why I engage with the discussion with what I did, obviously, and then they quote me. It is believable that there are more men than women on the internet, especially games. So many people call everyone he, you included. Fair enough, human. That's fair. They quote me talking about you were willing to be generous to the publishers by saying that they have no rationale to punish exploits in single player, but across your arguments you have never extended such generosity to the review. If EULA will be invalidated by law or self-restraint, why write all this EULA in the first place? The bulk of the SN2 EULA was copied and pasted from PUBG, and in that game, they will indeed invalidate your license for exploits. Alright then, and you expect this poor guy to realize that oh my god, it looks like PUBG. Like, how would you know this? Oh my god, what are you talking about? But it is a multiplayer only game and one with cash tournaments, so it is a very different scenario than SN1. This doesn't excuse including the term, but it does explain it in the way other than Grafton is evil. Okay, I don't know if across this review, he never said that Grafton is evil, by the way. The OP's primary objection to the review is the widespread belief that Grafton underworld? I don't remember. SN2 or underwater. Sorry, I don't remember. SN2 is trying to do something sneaky, underhanded, or just plain evil to innocent customers. How did you read all this and then conclude that it was sure, they're evil, Lamau? Okay, they are not. They are indeed screwing over customers, but in the same way that AAA publishers have been screwing over players for the past decade. As long as you concede that, I suspect you and I are in agreement on most other points. Okay, so when I read that, unknown words. Oh yeah, so sorry. Thank you. Underword. Unknown words, for God's sake. Unknown words. Unknown, not under. Unknown, of course. So they're saying other AAA people do it, so you have no right to criticize this one game for some reason. So cool, right? I highlight this one because this one go against the 17th point in the OP. Like you build things with Minecraft. Minecraft doesn't own your design anyway. Okay, then I read M's reply, so then I respond. Also, let me take my time to thank you someone again for giving me an award for perfect. Couldn't be more correct or on point. I don't know which one is perfect, so but thank you. So I says hello and thank you for your cordial reply. I think everyone in this discussion agrees that the EULA is anti-consumer, but the problem in this discussion is the OP's general dismissal of the concerns in the review. I quote M saying, "Good thing the EULA he was attacking would be a good start, or at least linking to the EULA." So I reply, yet OP did not do so as well in their rebuttal. OP did not present evidence or links to the commonality of how common the EULA is, nor did they link the EULA or TOS itself. The reviewer is not writing a research article, nor a thesis. They were presenting or summarizing the numerous grievances which led to their final decision of not recommended. Should all reviews on game mechanic and story cite documentation as well? So I'm asking whether do we have to apply your standard universally? Like if you claim that I have to cite the actual EULA, so if I review other topics like story, game mechanic, do I have to do the same as well, right? And then I quote, "The review is written to insinuate Grafton is going far beyond what a typical EULA terms are, so you should skip Subnautica 2, but you can still play other AAA games." I reply, there are other games without such EULA, like most indie games. For example, I think even Baldur's Gate 3 is not this harsh, and that one is also single player with co-op. Also, the reviewer did not say anything about you can still play other AAA games. I might have missed it. Where is this coming from? And then I quote, "Something along the lines of don't buy this game because it has a typical AAA EULA, especially these terms." So you want the reviewer to either go all the way, citing everything, or just write almost nothing. Wouldn't writing or grievances serve as awareness to what EULA can potentially do? So people shouldn't be able to review anything. True! Oh my god, thank you! Oh, I thought it was just me! Yeah, I'm so confused. Like, yeah, what's their problem? And then M says, it could be interpreted as meaning this singular term is industry standard, but the other terms are not. I think that is a bit of a stretch. They did say, of course, at the top most item of the grievances. My understanding is that most items are common, or could be common, I have no idea. Let me post it. Oh, okay, that one is a little bit cringe. An additional question. Should a game reviewer, non-professional, study everything that they are going to review in the game, such as EULA, game mechanics, story, from many other games, before reviewing this particular game? And I quote M's word, "I suspect that this was the reviewer's intention in including these bullet points. My interpretation and yours are both possible. The review was vague, probably because they are not an expert communicator." Hear me? Because I too am not expert communicator, to be fair. And M says, that is clearly in error about the bug clause in the multiplayer section, as the OP claimed. He might have been trying to say this was copied from PUBG EULA and that's an online-only game, so the clause is clearly referring to online-only. So I say, you are generous towards OP, and that is good. I support people arguing against don't strawman people's argument is what I'm trying to say. I wish you extend the same generosity to the reviewer as well. I have no idea how it could pivot to PUBG EULA though, because I have no idea about PUBG at all. But alright then. And M says, but it is multiplayer online only game with cash tournament. So it is very different scenario than SN1. It doesn't excuse the term, but it does explain in a way other than Grafton is evil. So I ask, where in the review did the reviewer indicate that Crafton is evil? Do you think a company being lazy in the topic in the legal matter is not indicative of a systemic issue such as negligence or possible deniability? I checked the SN2 store and it says single player online co-op, so copying from a multiplayer only game. And OP's rebuttal claiming that most broad claims are for multiplayer only makes it difficult to view the EULA and OP positively. And I quote, the OP's primary objection to the reviews is the widespread belief that the game is trying to do something sneaky, underhanded, or evil to innocent customers. They are not. So I ask, can you explain how you come to that conclusion, both about the reviews, belief, and whether the publisher or developers could not or never be evil? And then M says, let me drink some water. They are indeed screwing over customers, but in the same way, the AAA publishers have been screwing over players for the past decade. So I reply, therefore, it is not okay for a potential reviewer who is personally or emotionally invested in this game to criticize this game. Which game is allowed to be criticized first, in your opinion? Yeah, so which game should we throw stones at first so that we can throw stones at the other games? Then also a rebuttal to advocates of dismissal of EULA based on legally unenforceable. Remember Disney Plus? Which I meant to say Disney Pub, I think, where someone died in the restaurant in Disneyland. One of the moves the Disney lawyer tried is Piccolo was not allowed to sue the company because he had agreed to the terms that promised any future dispute he had with Disney would be solved via forced arbitration. He agreed to when he created a Disney Plus streaming account 4 years before his wife gave. And again, when he bought the theme park tickets last year. So there we need to argue that something not related to the park also comes to enforce the license agreement. That's amazing. How do you know whether a company would choose to enforce something in the EULA? Lawsuits or arbitrations, even for the defendant, can be expensive and time-consuming. If anything, there should have been more outrage. So I'm going to let you in on a bit of a secret. A human died on the Disney Plus. No, Disneyland. Oh, all right, I'm sorry that my sentence was not perfect, but it does illustrate what I'm trying to say. All right. Anyway, I'm going to let you in on a little bit of a extra law on my part. I have been to court before as a witness. It was not fun. And as a witness too. Not defendant, not plaintiff. So yeah, not fun. Like no, I don't. So that's why I push back on, like, what do you mean not going to be enforced anyway? Like, do you want to risk that? You and OP argue these terms as standard, and Crafton or UW, unknown words, and being sneaky. But Disney also used a standard arbitration clause in a sneaky way. They only back down after a massive public backlash. Dismissing the warning because everyone does it is how these clauses remain unchallenged. Witness, I definitely should pay as a penny. Yeah. No, it's just a civil law, not criminal law. I don't think S attorney have criminal law. Hear me? Okay, so I reply those to M. Hear me? So, and apparently they never get back to me. They reply to other people whom I killed. It was a civil court. I'm a witness. I'm not the defendant. Hear me? Oh wait, but in S attorney, witness can also be a killer. True. But this in S attorney, alright? Hear me? So this M person only reply to other people. Hear me? And they still keep saying some of the terms are unenforceable anyway. Lamau, it's unenforceable. It's okay. And in the end, the company, the publisher, I think, decided to revise or fix the EULA. But you know what? It doesn't affect anyone anyway. That's what they claim. Hear me? Because EULA lawsuits are vanishingly rare. They say, blah blah blah. I'm not gonna read. They reply to other people. So blah 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 blah. So this one M also reply to other people. This one M also reply to another people. So I saw that M don't reply to me, even though I'm asking like it was more like a Metacritic question, I guess. So now I'm being a little bit more provocative. So I said in addition, I know you have not responded to me, but I want to show why there is a potential problem with your premise about the review that you have a problem with. You said you support OP, so I will treat OP's statement as part of your premise as well. When I asked, what should the reviewer do to satisfy you, I was also implicitly asking what every other reviewer should do. I am going to show you what you are demanding from game reviewers based on your arguments. I believe your premise is the review was unnecessary, and my arguments against other commenters will show you. So I quote the OP. He also has to think about whether the whole thing is even applicable under the consumer laws of his own country and most other countries in the world. Which I reply, so you are demanding every reviewer to check the laws of every country before criticizing whether the games can potentially cause problem to a reviewer. And then I quote the OP, but writing an entire essay that makes people unnecessary. Oh, M guys, stop answering 23 of May, and my last message was 25 of May. Yeah, they haven't replied yet, but from what I saw, it seems that M guy are active around 30 minutes later after this. Hear me? I think. I don't know what it means. I don't know why. Normally, this M guy reply every day. So I can see why it's a little bit weird when they skip some day. Or maybe they just choose to ignore me. You know, we'll see. I mean, they want to ignore me. But I know how to probe people, apparently. Like, I know how to get inside people and force them to reply to me. I guess. I don't know why. But we'll see. And I don't even have to insult them, by the way. Maybe I'm an inquisitor, I guess. But writing an entire essay that makes people unnecessarily scared about something that won't actually affect them, that just create a toxic atmosphere. You are demanding every reviewer to ask themselves whether their review would make people unnecessarily scared, rather than stating what they like or don't like about it. And I quote M's quote, it's somewhat dishonest to leave a negative review complaining about unfair EULA terms on a platform that enforces similarly unfair terms on all games sold on the platform. You are demanding every EULA critic to restrict their voices to only platforms that are pure. Am I being dishonest if I am born and live in a country but criticize the same country? Yeah, I hate this argument very much. So yeah, you don't like this one about this one, but you are using something that have this same problem as well. So like, just think about it for like 5 minutes. Like, okay, in a fantasy world where Google take over the world, where Google makes everything and you have no choice but to buy from Google, does that mean I can't criticize Google anymore? These people will say no, because there's no alternative. There we go. Like, why is it so hard to be reasonable? Hear me? And I quote M. Quoting the EULA, he was attacking will be good start. You are demanding every reviewer to extensively cite text or sources in their reviews. These are normal people, most likely with jobs and daily life. And M says, and where appropriate, conceding that specific EULA terms are fairly common among games from AAA publishers. You are demanding every reviewer to extensively study many other games before reviewing any particular game. And then M says something along the lines of, don't buy this game because it has typical AAA EULA, especially these terms will be sufficient. You are demanding every reviewer to not discuss the grievances at length and also study many other games first. And then M says, in the case of SN2 EULA, there is a whole bunch of clauses where the technological infrastructure required to enforce the right simply doesn't exist. You are demanding every reviewer to somehow reverse engineer or know the back ends of a game to know the technological infrastructure. When the ordinary reviewers become game journalists? True! I know, right? But look at this person trying to say to me. And I quote M, the only way to know for sure is if Krafton sues someone to enforce their rights. You are demanding every reviewer to never speculate based on reliable sources and documents. You may not have stated these demands explicitly, but by arguing against other commenters' EULA concerns and by criticizing the review with your reasoning, you are implicitly demanding that all reviewers somehow know and accept the same assumptions you rely on to satisfy you. I hope I have shown you how your standards, when applied consistently to other games, make it impractical for reviewers to adhere to. Ironically, the only kind of reviewers who can follow your standards are paid corporate shields. Even many game journalists now don't do that much work. True! IGN, I'm looking at you. These commenters who are critical of OP and your arguments against the review are saying, I believe, that by using your arguments for criticizing the original review, you are promoting anti-consumer behavior. Also, you also have committed multiple goalpost shifts. In the OP post, they said lots of things, but most importantly, he says he spent his entire press session reading boilerplate text that may be legally worthless in most jurisdictions. All this to essentially argue that therefore the review is unwarranted. Then the argument shifts to Krafton were lazy and copied and pasted EULA from PUBG. They do not need and cannot justify. Thankfully, they are also actually not. They are not actually using the lights they are claiming either. How do you know that? Well, yet would be the appropriate end of the sentence. You concede that EULA is an overreach, but shift to they are not exercising the EULA, something that we would only know in the future, yet the result is the same. Therefore, the review is unwarranted. Then it shifts to this doesn't excuse including the term, but it does explain it in the way other than Crafton is evil. You said they are not exercising EULA. Now you say there's no excuse to include some terms, but shift to it's not because they are evil. Therefore, the review is unwarranted. Then it shifts to they are indeed screwing over customer, but the same way as other AAA, AAA, good job me, publishers has been screwing over players for the past decade. They're not evil, but EULA do screw customers, but everyone else is doing it too. Therefore, the review is unwarranted. Then it shifts to Unknown World was responding the outrage generated by EULA by considering altering the EULA terms to reduce the outrage to increase the sale of SN2, but it doesn't mean that they feel the EULA is illegal or even unenforceable. Here you conceded that backlash and not even the potential illegality did lead to a change in their action. Yet you still do not concede that maybe the review that the OP destroyed did play some part in it. Your goalpost has wheels under it, and it feels like you are arguing backward from your conclusion. AAA plus triple A. Well, stop killing games exist for a reason. So I said, these movements do not exist in a vacuum. They need vocal critics to legitimize the movements. They need something plain and obvious to point to and say Exhibit A. Also, OP and your arguments always conveniently ignore people who are not in the West, like Africa, Middle East, and most important continent of all, Asia. Hear me? Then don't buy games from publishers or developers that you don't trust. Duh. And how does one know or prompted to investigate without vocal critics? My final question is this. That's a lie. You have reasonable rebuttals against all commenters critical of you and OP. But I say that's a lie. I mean, apparently it's not my final question, Lamau. You have reasonable rebuttals against all commenters critical of you and OP, but does your standard serve society at large when applied consistently across topics? If your standard or your dismissal make the consumer criticism impossible, how does that serve anyone except corporations? Liar! No, you got me good. Hear me? So blah 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 blah, and then finally they replied to me that not even sure what they're quoting at. I'm going to respond briefly to your comments one more time, then not again. Hear me? That's a lie. Debating tactics delays the trade and serves to bump it to the top of the forum, neither of which I'm willing to do. Further responses will be viewed in the same place as random accusations of being an LLM. That is the trash. If you wish to address the actual arguments, I may respond or not. I swore to destroy evil, not join it. No. Master, it wasn't me, I swear. The OP and myself have been advancing several different arguments at different times in different responses. The first is, most of the terms are industry standard, which focuses on you probably have agreed to similar terms and the word has not ended. What a maximalist arguments. Jesus Christ. EULA in a sense or points out the hypocrisy of those who are using EULA as a pretext to damage Grafton or SN2 for reasons unrelated to EULA. How do you know? Namely the lawsuit between founders and Grafton. Some terms are unusual enough that they are not industry standard. However, for these terms, a defense is created out of some element of the following. 1. This is unenforceable is... Sorry, but the word has ended. Oh my god. Am I in heaven? No. We're still in Steam discussion. We're in hell. 1. This is unenforceable in some, most jurisdictions. 2. This cannot be practically enforced in SN2, but could be enforced in PUBG. How the hell does the reviewer know that then? 3. This is intended to be used in extreme circumstances where the customer has earned millions of dollars and Grafton wants a cat. How do you know? How the hell do you know? 4. Grafton lacks the ability to detect a violation of this term, so it simply cannot come up. How the hell do you know? There are likely at least 1 or 2 more, but these are the most common arguments I employ to defend individual clauses. In addition, there is the overarching point. The EULA says what the publisher claims the rights to do, not what the publisher will actually do. Wow, I feel better now. I'm not going to actually do it, but we want to do it. Alright, cool. Thanks, guys. A subset of this argument is, if the publisher is evil, then no EULA will save you. And if the publisher is benevolent, then a terrible EULA will not hurt you. Okay, well, if you are benevolent, then just take away the EULA then, Lamau. What? Finally, as the threat evolved and the accusations of being a corporate shield mounted, I moved strongly towards explicitly and overtly supporting the rights of individuals to not purchasing the game due to EULA. It should have been obvious that this was my position all along. But which argument I use in the given response depends on my mood. Oh, alright then. Well, here you go, guys. My emotion and what I judge the person I'm responding to is most likely to respond to. This will obviously result in a range of potential conclusions to messages depending on what argument I am pursuing. There is no real goalpost moving here. You're just hallucinating, Akibit. Some arguments support stronger conclusions than others. That's not true. Fundamentally, both that's not true because we all know that unenforceability is the weakest of them all. So why did you even make that arguments then? Fundamentally, both I and the OP believe that the initial review was written. Oh, this one is the one I read to you yesterday. Was written the way it was intentionally to make the EULA issues look as bad as possible, not as an honest mistake, but as a deliberate attempt to hurt the popularity of SN2 for reasons that have absolutely nothing to do with the EULA. I have no evidence that this is true, but that is my belief, and both the OP and my messages early in the discussion are heavily influenced by that. Later, once it became clear that actual EULA virgins were leading the trade, the focus moved more towards education. So to say, to reiterate, I will not be responding to further critiques of how I am debating in this discussion. I raised a substantive issue. You said X was industry standard, but it is not, or similar, or expect no further responses from me. That's it. Well, don't worry. I have a way to make people talk. I am an inquisitor. So I respond, Jesus, they have a lot of free time on their hand, huh? And then I respond, it seems you do not understand my point. Allow me to You will go across the shutters and come back. Okay, you know what? I'll drink some water too. Oh god, my throat hurts. Too much yapping. Let me stretch. Oh god, there are other people watching this. Hi guys. No need to respond, by the way. Sorry for I'm not usually do this. You know, so don't expect this kind of stream to always happen. You know. I'm just here to make sure that everything is documented or something. So I only got into like 2 online arguments, so I'm not it's not like my hobby or something to do that. Hear me? But all the same, thank you so much for coming. You got this. Hear me? But let me go refill my water. Back. I'll wait for my chat to come back. But so let me take this moment to so sorry. Wow, I haven't talked this much for a long time. So let me explain myself a bit. So for those who didn't come at the start of the stream, so I'm arguing against this person, not because I don't like or like the EULA or the game or the publishers themselves. I was just confused about these people reaction to the reviewers, because I found that the review was pretty accurate in the description of the EULA. So, but the people that I'm arguing with says that it's a dishonest or misinformation. So I was really confused. Like, okay, why do they think that? And what should I, as a, if I do review the game in the future, what should I do without pissing these people off? Hear me? So I'm looking for standards, is what I'm trying to say. Hear me? I'm just curious. Like when I get involved, when I first get involved with the discussion, all I want is that okay, you said this review has problems, so then what standard should we develop then, and do those standard work, is what I'm trying to say. I need more tea. You're here. Excellent. I need to I got some tea because this is too much yapping. Hear me? Thank you. Let me drink some more tea. Hear me? I'm surprised. I thought you are the only one in the stream. Apparently there's other people as well. Also, that's thank you so much for lurking, everyone. Okay, let's continue. I don't have spaces to put down my tea. Okay, there we go. So after the M guy said, I will not respond to you anymore. Or maybe. Or not. So I'm just gonna... How do I know there are other people? I look at YouTube. Nobody else is on Twitch. I know that. Because Twitch is a horrible place to be. I shouldn't say that, but yeah. Not horrible place to be. Horrible place for discovery. There we go. So after the M person said that, I make this comment as like a, okay, I know they are not going to answer me, so I'm just gonna do like a final reflection, and maybe I'm just gonna go or something. So I say, it seems you do not understand my point. Allow me to be blunter then. How fast will I get banned on Twitch for these words? Oh, come on. There are people who did say worse thing about Twitch than me. They're not lead Twitch TOS? Nope. They don't know me. It's okay. For legal reasons, it's a joke. Twitch, please spare me. Hear me? So I intend for this comment to be my final comment. So I says, it seems you do not understand my point. Allow me to be blunter then. Either raise a substantive issue or expect no further responses from me. Ironic. I did say, also, from the previous post, also OP, and your arguments always conveniently ignore people who are not in the West, like Africa, Middle East, and Asia. You did not address that. I also say the rebuttal to advocates of dismissal of EULA based on legally unenforceable about the Disney Plus. You also did not address that. These two arguments cut through some of your standard defenses of this is unenforceable in most jurisdictions. This is intended to be used in extreme circumstances where the customer has earned millions of dollars and Grafton was a cat. Yet you want me and the others to be okay with such EULA. Debating tactics delays the trade and serves to bump it to the top of the column, neither of which are willing to do. Further responses will be viewed in the same place as random accusations of being an LLM, that is, the trash. Me checking your logical consistency is trash? What does that make you, my good man? I have to hold myself back not to actually type something harsher than that. And how do you know about number 4? About Crafton lacked the ability to detect a violation of this term, so it simply cannot come up. Do you have privileged access to the game's internal code? And how do you know that this company, right now or after changes in leadership, will not enforce it? Or is it blind faith, just like how you characterize the reviewer? And I quote, "Oh, for God's sake, you saw nothing." Wait a second. I have no evidence that the review was bad faith. It's true, but that is my belief, and both the OP and my messages early in the discussion are heavily influenced by that. You also argued, if the publisher is evil, then no EULA will say for you. And you are arguing for critics to stay silent. Do you think pro-consumer laws exist in a vacuum? Also, if you go post shift again into Disney, or Fortnite, or local labs, or Walmart, does not affect 99% of people, then you are essentially arguing that since cars, airplanes, train-related accidents are rare, therefore, we should not have installed any seat belts, sensors, or any other safety systems. Let's save all the costs. In risk management, not only you have to consider probability of bad things happening, you have to evaluate the severity of the consequences. Legal systems are time-consuming. Trust me, I know. Very expensive and mentally devastating. Even when you are 100% in the right, all the government steps in later on, unless you believe that slap lawsuit is a myth. The Disney Plus case shows that these clauses are enforced precisely when the stakes are highest, when someone has suffered catastrophic harm, death of the loved one, and the corporation wants to avoid accountability. Yes, I am saying that your entire premise is false. You arguing based on a blind belief shows that you just want to win, and ironically advances nothing on the subject matter. You do not want to answer my questions because it exposes your bias more than you wanted to. Okay, now that sounds harsher than I intended, but whatever. Certainly, you have no obligation to respond to me, but let my text show other people that you were not being reasonable towards the reviewer and future reviewers. Good day to you. Oh boy, here comes the fun part. Despite my best efforts, I will respond. And they quote me. It seems you do not understand my point. Allow me to be banter then. Please. Also, OP, your arguments always conveniently OP and your arguments are always conveniently ignore people who are not in the West and like Africa, Middle East and Asia. You did not address that. Obviously, they are on their own. Cool. And will either need to investigate on their own or assume that the terms is legally enforceable. Cool, thank you. Really? You left me for dead? Which, I mean, because I'm Asian, by the way. Which seems pretty self-evident to me. Seriously? And okay, then why did you... Okay, you know what? Because I respond to that later as well. Okay, I'll drink some tea. Yeah. Delicious. And then they quote me. I also said about Disney Plus. You also did not address that. I did not advocate that position. I work under an assumption that 100% of the terms will be upheld in court. What the hell do you mean about unenforced? Then, the point of every term in an EULA is to get the buyer to denounce one or more legal protections they would otherwise have, and arguing that, oh, the labor that prepared the EULA was wrong, and you actually can denounce that, right? Isn't very wise. If someone, not naming names, says term X violates the GDPR, then my go-to response is, if X is determined to violate the GDPR, then it is unenforceable, and therefore X should not influence your decision. Which is identical to saying, if X, a court, determines X is unenforceable, then X is unenforceable. Yeah. But before we get to that decision, you have to fight the legal system. So good luck with that. Which is true by virtue of being a tautology. The person I'm responding to has decided that X violates a local law, so I'm taking them at their word. I have no idea what they are talking about, by the way. The OP does argue that some terms are so absurd that they qualify as unconscionable, and yeah, I don't do that and can support that. Of course, very rarely throw out contracts or terms of contracts on that basis. Yeah, I don't even care about that. What? If only way someone can accept a contract is because they believe that some terms are unconscionable, that they shouldn't accept the contract. That is in fact what the terms means. A term so outrageous that no competent adult would agree to be banned by it if they knew it was present regardless of their personal circumstances. That's a high bar, and it's very unlikely that a professionally prepared EULA will reach it. Wait, did this guy trying to change their shoes? Apparently so. Hear me? That's what I said about goalpost shifting. But look at this. Thank God, I thought it was just me. Thank God. The OP did make this argument, and to that extent, I denounce those opinions. Yeah. So at first, they say, I agree with OP. I support OP. But now, no, I don't agree with OP. At least, not in some part. Hear me? Like, okay, cool. That's what I said about goalpost shifting. That's why I said that goalpost has wheels underneath them. They're rolling the goalpost in reverse when I argue against them. It's not fair to me. And then they quote me, these two statements cut through some of your standard defense. That is not what I said. What? What? Why did this become your standard defenses of tautology? I said these two statements cut through some of your standard defenses of those. Okay, why did you add? Why did you put words into my mouth? I'm mad. I didn't see that. What are these mood swings? You tell me. Hear me? about, I said, standard defense of unenforceable and extreme circumstances of millions of Deludus and Crafton once a cat. Hear me? I mean, yes, there is a risk that you find yourself in a situation where a Subnautica 2 novelization is not only a bestseller, it's outselling all of the holy books of all of the religions combined. Then you might very well guess the day you listen to a guy on the internet who told you to sign away your IP rights because the circumstances that clause are intended to protect against are very unlikely to occur. Yeah, but how do you know that? Making your decision about agreeing to, not agreeing to the EULA based on the risk if in a billion things occur is paranoia. I don't know where they get the 1 in a billion chance from, but from their own buttocks, I guess. Not reasonable prudence. Cooperations, I assume they mean corporations, do this because they have millions of customers and the odds are decent that one of them will have incredibly unlikely events occur. That is why the clause is in the EULA. So essentially, I guess they are arguing that we are buying a lottery to unfairness. Yeah. And then they quote me saying, and how do you know about number 4? Crafton lacks the ability to detect a violation of this term. Do you have privileged access to the game's internal code? And how do you know that this company right now, or after changes in leadership, will not enforce it? Or is it blind faith, just like how you characterize the reviewer? Here comes the fun part. I'm sure you like this. I am a developer with a decent understanding of the technical obstacles involved with detecting violations of these clauses and an understanding of what capabilities are baked into, e.g., assembly criteria necessary to function as it does. A game like Subnautica 2, I am assuming that they are not going to invest money in adding capabilities to SN2 beyond what is reasonably required to make it work as advertised. Yeah, and Facebook are not harvesting your data. I also assume that Crafton, but oddly not unknown woes, but the difference is minor and irrelevant in this context, will make pursue the loot that maximizes immediate profit, even when the loot leads to lower long-term profits of pain and suffering of others, including the customers. If you are assuming that Crafton unknown are malicious, they are acting with deliberate intent to deceive so they can maximize the pain and suffering of the people who buy the products. Profit be damned. What? No, they would maximize the profit by making people pain and suffering. You got this backward, my guy. I just realized that, by the way. Would be funny if this guy was you, deliberately writing that to beg me to answer to you. Imagine. No, actually, this person feels like the guy I argued on Reddit last year. I thought they changed profession just to piss me off and come here just to harass me. Like they use the same tactics. Like maybe some other times I will read the Reddit arguments too. They're all insane. The arguments, that is. Where is it again? Where did I read to? The EULA should be irrelevant to your purchasing decision. A program running on your computer can, within certain broad limits, do whatever it wants regardless if what EULA says or doesn't say. Indeed, a hypothetical company that was malicious would have a very nice EULA, agreeing that they will not do all the awful things, and they proceed to break them at the first available opportunity. Hear me? So EULA is not important, apparently. So why do everyone have it? I have no idea. This line of argumentation is specifically intended to elicit this admission that the person advancing the don't buy SN2 because of EULA is actually advocating for don't buy SN2 because the publisher is Grafton and they cannot be trusted. Are you... Well, how did you come to this conclusion? As a valid opinion to hold, a valid reason to not buy SN2, and a reason to write negative reviews of SN2, and a valid reason to make negative posts about Grafton here or elsewhere. Okay. But you need to own the opinion. The end don't justify the means applies here. If the only way you can protect people from falling under the spell of evil Grafton is by exaggerating or outright lying. Ooh, brave accusation there. The dangers of the EULA. Then you shouldn't be surprised when when people call you out on your exaggerations, lies, if people are spreading misinformation. Does he invite a new imaginative EULA, going farther away from the original post? Kinda. I don't know. No, they're arguing that EULA is not important. You shouldn't base your purchase decision on EULA. But that was not my argument at all. I just want people to be able to voice their concern without these people claiming that the review is a falsehood. Like, how can people on internet throw around lie accusation of dishonesty so easily without evidence? Like, I feel like you do that in real world, people are going to be really mad at you. So if the EULA is not important, why does he write all that? He? You mean the guy? No, they're saying that since EULA is not important, you shouldn't criticize the company for the EULA, because in their mind, they thought that the EULA will never be used, always, or 99% not going to be used. Because they say, well, EULA or no EULA, bad companies will do what bad companies do anyway, and good companies will do what good companies do anyway. That's essentially what their argument is. Which I think I debate that later, so I don't want to debate against their arguments twice. If where am I again? Oh, then you shouldn't be surprised when people call you out on your exaggerations, lies. I tell you, if people are spreading misinformation in an attempt to deter people from buying SN2, then I will speak out against that. I provide good information. If people are spreading misinformation in an attempt to convince people to buy SN2, then I will speak out against that as well. And I've done that, exactly that, in another discussion on this forum. So sorry. Obviously, here comes another fun part. Obviously, I may be wrong myself, but I am arrogant or confident enough to assume that if I evaluate a statement as incorrect, then it probably is incorrect, and I can make the world a better place by refuting the incorrect statement, aka I think it's not true, therefore it is not true. I don't need any citations on that, Lamau. See, I didn't make this up. This guy actually write this paragraph unironically for some reason. Like, how could a grown person, wait, he didn't read the original EULA? I assume that he did. So no, no, he's arguing. I'm just gonna say he. Fair enough. He's arguing that yes, EULA, the Subnautica EULA is bad, but it wouldn't be enforced anyway. And if it's enforced, it's probably not going to be against you. Or if the company is good, they're not gonna use this EULA anyway. That's what he's saying. So he's saying that by reviewing, by saying that that this EULA are horrible, the reviewers are just smearing the good name of the company for no reason. That's what he's essentially saying. Hear me? So he agrees that the EULA is bad. But for whatever reason, he assumed that the company will not use it anyway. Yeah. Yeah. And whether you believe him or not, I classify that as blind faith. Hear me? Because there's no evidence at all. I don't know whether a company is good or not. So why? Okay, I'll think about this. Larian Studio, who make Divinity, Original Sins, and Baldur's Gate 3, I think they have narrower in scope EULA and generally more softer EULA terms. That could be one of the example of good company. So, but I don't know why this person really believe that it will never happen. Like, it could be true, but how are we supposed to know? And why should that stop reviewers who read the thing and then paraphrase and write the thing and not recommend the game? That's my problem. Hear me? Where did I read to again? Oh yeah. If your standard is instead everyone should stand silent in the face of what appears to be misinformation because they might be wrong, then I disagree. That's like your opinion, man. And he quote me about if are you arguing for critics to stay silent? Do you think pro-consumer laws exist in a vacuum? I am not arguing that people who believe that Grafton is evil should remain silent. I am arguing that people who believe Grafton is evil should argue for that position. Yeah, but you don't even know that the reviewer is trying to say that. Rather than strategically closing whatever argument they feel is most likely to save the most people from the grasp of the evil corporation. And then they quote me, also if your ghost post shift into Disney or whatever else does not affect 99% of people, I don't believe these cases were brought up in this discussion. Okay, I don't think this person know what goalpost shifting mean at all. Okay. So I'm unsure how you didn't defeat these cases is an example of shifting goalposts. Why do we divide companies by evil and good? You feel like every company is able to do questionable things after time. True. Yeah. I don't know why. But I already know why. He just want to win the arguments because he believes with all his heart that the review wants to say that Grafton is evil. He believes that, and by his own admission, he has no evidence. But he believes that that the reviewer is saying that Grafton is evil or uniquely evil. So, as I said yesterday, when you believe with all your heart of a pre-established conclusion. Everything else that comes after that is just rationalization or evidence that can be twisted to suit their needs. So that's why they're gonna keep arguing that, oh, good company won't do that anyway. Evil company going to do that without EULA anyway. Namao. Yeah. But thank God you saw the same problem as I do, because I was so stressed. I was so stressed out that, wait, what if I'm the only one who thinks that this guy is not talking sense? Like, am I the only one who's insane or something? Where is it again? Blah 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 blah. I don't believe these cases were brought up in this discussion, so I'm unsure how you did refute these cases. It's an example of shifting goalposts. However, since you brought them up, and without looking into the details of the cases, I like how he says, without looking into the details, and he's essentially saying, my guy, look. Look at this! Like, I can't answer to all of those, so I could only pick and choose some sentence. You remember when everyone thought that Bethesda was a good company and bought Starfield? Yeah. Okay. In my opinion, a company can be good, but leaderships change all the time. Just look at EA Games. Just look at SimCity 4 and SimCity 2013. Look how different the games were. Like, companies don't die; they just change hands, and people change. It's just that simple to me. So I'm like, yeah. Why do we separate company into good and evil? People leadership change anyway. Like, why would I trust blindly trust a company because it's quote unquote good? That's ridiculous. Disney or Fortnite data breach application. Okay, so apparently this one they just talk about Fortnite, not Disney. But I don't know why they copy Disney into this too. Like, the company wanted a data breach and both took precautions to try to prevent one from occurring. I don't care. The data that was stolen was data that the company needed to gather in order to conduct their business. Okay, and the customer knew the data was being gathered under the assumption that the company would keep the data confidential. No problem with that. The companies failed, but that isn't the fault of EULA. We're not saying that. The EULA does limit the ability of the impacted individuals to claim damages. Alright? And thus, it can be argued that in the absence of the EULA, the company would have spent more time and money securing the data due to the increased potential liability. Okay, you don't have to sell me more on that. Companies should spend more time and money to secure the data. Lamau, what are you talking about? Oh my god. Are you saying that EULA makes company have less data security? Oh no, EULA is bad. What? What are we talking about? But you could argue that in the absence of the EULA, the companies would simply refuse to provide the services the customers purchase at all. Okay, first off, if I pay money and I don't get service back, lawsuit. Class action lawsuit. But also, if he's saying that it will be too expensive to maintain service without this EULA, yeah, then maybe this business, quote unquote business, shouldn't exist at all. Wow, I agree. Because the higher prices they would need to charge to cover the increased cost of data protection would exceed the prices the customers were willing to pay. Yeah. An unsustainable company shouldn't be a company. Thank you. If there are no EULA, shouldn't country laws be enough? True, because there are consumer protection laws. There are also company protection. I don't know what it's called, but there are. Companies do have right too. But this person seems to forget everything about that. But I don't want to argue that there are laws for a company too. Because then I will have to prove to them. And I don't want to, because I just want to argue that reviewers are already factual enough. So they shouldn't need anything more. So I shouldn't have to tell them that laws should be enough. So I didn't say anything about that. But it is impossible to prevent all data breaches, just as it is impossible to prevent all murders. So each country needs to decide what the correct balance is and how to achieve it. In the absence of government action, companies will decide where EULA is. Okay, I don't know what this point is about, what this balance should be, and I believe I have said that all EULAs are evil, yes. And yet, the reviews are bad for you, apparently. Local labs, legal action against customers that complain. Anyone can sue anyone at any time for any reason. I support anti-slap laws, which makes it less expensive to defend against these sort of lawsuits. But whether or not a EULA exists, a company can file a lawsuit against an individual for leaving a negative review, claiming slander. The fact that they are extremely likely to lose means very little. Few people are willing or able to spend 10k dollars to defend against such lawsuit. The lawsuit would have been brought EULA or no, and I suspect the results would have been the same, EULA or not. This is not an EULA problem. I will read my rebuttals afterward. I'm not going to say the same thing. Walmart, arbitration to civilize lawsuit filed by someone falsely accused of shoplifting. I assume that the defendant used Walmart online and thus agreed to EULA. Actually, it's the wrong one, but I don't blame this guy, by the way. And then was accused of shoplifting from a physical store. And Walmart is attempting to use EULA to claim civil damages via binding arbitration rather than via the proper course. First, the legality of the technique hasn't been ruled on and is dubious, to say the least, whatever that means. Second, it is at least... You think he's trying to say that in countries that government laws are weak, company will use EULA? Okay, but why write them in like broad scopes then? Also, screw Asia people, right? Okay. No, if you say that, if he said that, that's even worse because I'm going to write all these harsh EULA, but in the countries that law prevents me from doing that, oh well, I can't do anything. But you know what? I'll be as harsh as possible to countries that has no consumer laws. So that's clear double standard already for people who live in the West, generally, and the other countries. Like, yeah, even that doesn't pass a smell test at all. I don't remember if I call out on that later, so we'll see. Because he's essaying so long after he says he's not gonna delve into the details, no less. But I like this one the most. Second, it is at least arguable that binding of forced arbitration is better for the defendant here. EULA may take away your liberty, but it's for the good of you guys. Lamau, the court cost for the defendant will almost certainly be lower that defending against the same allegations in the civil suit, the maximum damages Bodan can demand are the same, and while arbitration is much less favorable to the defendant, it isn't completely unfair, Lamau. What? Better for defendant, less favorable for defendant. It isn't completely unfair. This guy is jumping, is flip-flopping in his own paragraph of his own defense for some reason. I have no idea which one does the person truly believe. Better for defendant, less favorable for the defendant, not completely unfair. Yeah, I was so confused when I read this sentence. Bodan will need to show some sort of evidence that shoplifting actually occurred and the defendant was responsible. In the vast majority of these cases, the merchant has CCTV of the defendant taking the goods and exiting the store, and whether you are in civil court or arbitration, that's extremely likely to produce a guilty verdict. If you're arguing, I have no idea what he's talking about. If you're arguing, yeah, he's probably guilty of shoplifting, but Bodan would be willing to spend the money for a civil action, but are willing to for an arbitration action, then I'll concede that if you intend to break the law, in some cases, an EULA would make you less likely to get away with it. He's inventing a problem and invent a solution. I'm so confused. Like I didn't answer that because what the hell was he talking about? Why didn't he bring actual cases that prove his point that court costs will be lower for defendant than civil suit? Don't ask me. I have no idea. I have no idea. These cases perhaps argue that all EUL is a bad, but that's a position that I agree with. Okay, the argument advanced by the reviewer and which I and the OP is attempting to argue against is that the EULA is unusually bad. Again, how does he know that? The review doesn't say that at all. And I don't see how any of these cases are relevant to that discussion. Because you kept saying that they won't be enforced anyway. Did you forget your own argument? What the hell? That you are sorry. And then he quoted me, I think. Then you are essentially arguing that since cars, airplanes, train accidents are rare, so we shouldn't install seatbelts, sensors, or any safety system. That argument was in fact advanced when those laws were proposed. Society decided that those costs were acceptable given the benefits. And also, even if I take his premise as true, like a civil or arbitration, that doesn't cost millions of Dolulus as he claimed in his own post. So he's undermining his own argument. I think almost all of them undermine his own argument. I have no idea why he would make those arguments. It makes his argument less powerful. Like, I wouldn't do that. I wouldn't make those arguments to defend EUL, to defend like how reviewer shouldn't do what they did. Like, no. Blah blah blah. Oh, agreed. I will even agree. Oh, wrong one. About the cars, seatbelt, and everything. That argument was, in fact, advanced when those laws were proposed. Society decided that those costs were acceptable given the benefits. I do address that later. In risk management, not only you have to consider probability, you also evaluate the severity of the consequences. Legal systems are expensive, time-consuming, mentally devastating. Unless you think Slap lawsuit is a myth. Oh, I agree. I will even agree with the implied point that EULAs reduce the liabilities of companies encouraging riskier behaviors. But reduced risk also mean lower cost. Yeah, I hate this one the most. Okay, Nico, you had a good time. Goodbye. Okay, cheers. Thank you so much for coming. I hope you have a good sleep. But reduced risk also means lower cost for consumers, so it isn't all downside. So this guy is essentially arguing for trickle-down economy. Very cool. The Disney Plus, he quote me, the Disney Plus case shows that these clauses are enforced precisely when the stakes are highest, when someone has suffered catastrophic harm or death of their loved one, and the corporation wants to avoid accountability. Yes, agreed. And he quote me, yes, I am saying that your entire premise is false. I say action under EULAs only occur when millions of dollars at stake, a very rare occurrence. No, he didn't say that to me. He said that to someone else. Got me? And you say what I quoted above. That seems to be the same thing with different words. If you end up in a situation where SN2 can either extract millions from you or avoid paying millions to you, then the EULA terms will matter a great deal. But that's very unlikely to occur. You arguing based on a blind belief shows that you just want to win, and ironically advances nothing on the advanced matter, or it shows that I believe that I am right. Fair? You do not want to answer my questions because it exposes your bias more than you wanted to, or it takes lots of time and doesn't really advance my goals with my purse in the street collecting misinformation. Sure, okay, well, whatever he says. Blah blah blah. I'm not gonna read other people's comment. So then I reply back, hear me? So when the M guy says, obviously they are on their own, the people who are not in the West, hear me? Thank you for finally admitting this to us. You have repeatedly argued that many clauses are unenforceable in some jurisdictions, using that to minimize the reviewers' concerns. Yet you have now admitted that consumers in other countries are on their own. Thank you. Me, one of them. That contradiction undermines your dismissal. People in other countries which do not have decent consumer protection law should be warned. Hear me? And I quote M when he says what he's ultimately arguing for. Some terms are unusual enough that they are not industry standard. However, for these terms, a defense is created out of some elements of the following: unenforceable. Thus, your criticisms on reviewing unenforceable terms no longer holds water because not all countries are as privileged as yours. So you struck this point out, this one, by your own admission. Lamau, I didn't advocate that position. I work under an assumption that 100% of the terms will be upheld in court. This is about what I said about Disney Plus. I was not saying you advocated for that. I was saying that Disney choosing to enforce the EULA at the worst time go against one of your beliefs of this is intended to be used in extreme circumstances where the customer has earned millions of dollars and Krafton or a company wants a cut. Unless you can explain to me how Krafton or unknown word, finally, I don't care who has the final say, and I don't care if they are evil or not, is somehow unique from companies like Disney or other companies I mentioned. The circumstances that clause are intended to protect against are very unlikely to occur. And so far, you and OP seems to be the only ones privy to the intentions for each clause. Because remember, these people never cite anything. Oh, these terms, they write that so that they would combat this, that, those. How do you know? Trust me, bro. Hear me? making your decision about agreeing to not agreeing to / not agreeing to a EULA based on the risk of one in a billion things occur is paranoia. I can only assume you did not read my risk management probability severity English paragraph before typing that. So allow me to ask a simple question. I actually know what answer I'm going to get when I ask this question, by the way, because I know what kind of person he was. If pressing a button gives you $10 but has 1 in 1 billion chance of instant death, how many times would you push it? Also, by arguing for normalization of such behaviors, it leads to more acceptance. It leads to more companies willing to flex their power. Your 1 in 1 billion chance slowly increases. I also note that your 1 in 1 billion chance is likely a made-up number from your buttocks. Hear me? I am a developer with M says, I am a developer with a decent understanding of the technical obstacles involved with detecting violations of these clauses and an understanding of what capabilities are baked into simply criteria English, Latin, necessary to function as it does a game like SN2. So I ask, so a harmless looking game cannot have spywares, for example? And no, I'm not talking specifically about SN2. Because he claimed, oh, I'm a developer. I know what games looks like, I guess. Like, how do you know that they don't, you know, sneak in something into it? How would you know? And then M says, I am assuming that they are not going to invest money in adding capabilities to SN2 beyond what is reasonably required to make it work as advertised. So I respond, so you argue that our written text, EULA, are not credible hints to their intention, but somehow your assumption is more accurate, you know, assumption without evidence at all, by the way. Even your logical foundation for number 2, this cannot be practically enforced in SN2, but could be enforced in PUBG. And number 4, Crafton lacks the ability to detect a violation of this term, so it simply cannot come up, which is actually like, aren't they both the same? I don't know why he separated the 2 points. It's very shaky. To put it generously, they were based on some kind of blind faith. And the M says, if you are assuming that Grafton unknown words are malicious. So I say, allow me to assure you right here, I do not view these companies as evil. I am arguing for a standard that can be applied across multiple games and products. And then M says, a program running on your computer can, within certain broad limits, do whatever it wants, regardless if what the EULA says or doesn't say. Indeed, a hypothetical company that was malicious would have a very nice EULA, agreeing that they will not do all the awful things and then proceed to break all the terms at the first available opportunity. To which I say, so when this program turns chaotic, regardless of EULA, and EULA does not include forced arbitration, I can actually take the company to court. For example, are you trying to undermine your own position? Like, I'm so confused. Like this one is it's a weaker argument than he thought, I think. And then M says, if the only way you can protect people from falling under the spell of evil Grafton is by exaggerating or outright lying. So I noted, and the accusation without evidence continue. How do you know that they are lying? No idea. How do you know that the reviewers was exaggerating? No idea. Cool. And then he continued to say, you shouldn't be surprised when people call you out on your exaggerations, lies. And then I said, but there was no exaggerations. They were all paraphrases of EULA points that they don't like. You also admitted that SN2 EULA was most likely copied from PUBG. How would anyone know then that it was from PUBG, my good man? PUBG EULA is of course very out of place in SN2, hence the angry review. Why the hell is it hard for you to find this obvious, my guy? Remember, this reviewer person is most likely a normal gamer with jobs, hopefully, a life, hopefully, to live. It seems your other problem is that the review omitted the commonality of such EULA. But this ties back nicely to my original question. Do unprofessional reviewers have to study other games first before making a review? And are you demanding this reviewer and all future reviewers to read EULA of every game before reviewing this one's EULA? Your standard is impractical to average people. I have no idea how my point is not clear enough, but apparently not. Hear me? The reviewer most likely was curious or loved SN Subnautica in particular, hence more scrutiny. And yes, this reviewer did recommend SN1. You can actually press, I think, reviews to see their previous reviews. And yeah, they did recommend the game. Hear me? Even if you argue that they hate SN2 or is somehow bad faith, does that make the review on EULA any less accurate right now? And then I quote him, I will speak out against that and provide good information. And then I admit, you did give people technical knowledge. He in other comments he kept answering like context of each point and everything. Again, as I said, he has no evidence that his explanations are true, so there's no guarantee that he's right, by the way. But you know what? Whatever. I'm just gonna concede some ground. You did give people technical knowledge, but on the other hand, you extend generous assumptions for the company and dismiss people's concern. And I quote him, if your standard is instead, everyone should stand silent in the face of what appears to be misinformation because they might be wrong, then I disagree. So I reply, but it was not misinformation. That's why I told you your entire premise is wrong. I read the OP post. I categorize the rebuttal into the following. Contextualize each point, 12 items. Contextualization, but disputed, well, it's actually 2 items, 7 and 17. Everyone does it and claims that it limits only to multiplayer, 4 items. Everyone does it, 5 items. Not enforceable, 2 items. OP actually misrepresenting the review, Lamau, 2 items. Which is when, number 20, OP said the review concluded anyway that reading document leads to false arbitration. But the review said, but if so, as a hypothetical, hear me? And number 21, OP just said no right to refund, then discuss about Steam refund. But original review already said you have no right to refund under any circumstances unless forced to by law or enforced by the platform the game was sold on. So that was a misrepresentation, Lamau. And reviewer may or may not have overreached one item. Number 5, OP just said remote access. Reviewer actually said they reserve the right to remote access the game. Whatever they mean by this, the reviewer already showed uncertainty with the term. OP missed this entirely. EULA says company may, as applicable, update, patch, or modify the game remotely and access the game software resides on your device for such purpose. I searched, and hopefully the US government, at least the National Institute of Science and Technology, is accurate enough, says remote access definitions access to an organizational information system by a user or an information system communicating through an external non-organization controlled network. It's simply gratia, the internet. Based on this, it seems to meet the definition of remote access the game, which is different from remote desktop. But someone better might be able to opine on this. Not one point did OP said, this is just wrong, that's not what in the EULA, or they missed this in the EULA. Most of what OP did was add context, argued that everyone does it, or laws will protect you. We do not even know if these stated contexts or intentions are accurate to this particular company, because they tell me nothing. For some reason, OP never cited anything that led to their conclusion to the apparent context or intentions. I checked the EULA. At least all reviews points brought up by the OP, with the fifth being debatable, are accurate paraphrase. I give the link to the EULA, which is also term of services for some reason. I note that you have to change the date to the April date first, because the revised one happened after the review. Hear me? So in OP post there are 26 points of the review that they criticize. So let's say number 17 is 5. No, I would prefer something shorter than that. Let's say 10. Number 10 is 3S. What is number 10? Cannot exploit bugs. And I say S. There it is. Exploit errors and bugs found while playing the game. The documentation are using the services, which is under prohibited uses. Therefore, you can. So, I'm not going to show each and every one of them here. You can go check it out if you want. But yeah, all of them are overall pretty accurate. Hear me? Other than the debatable fifth point, the review's points were accurate paraphrase of each section. No additional context was left behind in EULA. If anything, OP have misrepresented 2 times, more than the reviewers 0 to 1 time. So perhaps you should be critical towards OP as well. I mean, same standard, am I right? See how when you use magnifying glass, I should have said microscope, but too late, on something, you will probably find some mistake. Except I don't attribute OP's errors to malice. Also, if anything, shouldn't it be the company's fault that they did not include the context? The agreements are supposed to be for end user, those who are not well versed in complicated laws. Yet why do we have to be here fighting over what the meanings or intentions could actually be? Therefore, where are the misinformation? Where are the outright lying? Where are the exaggerations? The lack of context that does not even appear in the EULA? Is it not time to prove your premise? And I quote him, I am not arguing that people who believe that Grafton is evil should remain silent. I am arguing that people who believe Grafton is evil should argue for that position, rather than strategically crossing whatever argument they feel is most likely to save the most people from the grasp from the evil corporation. No, you are arguing for a high standard, impractical for any average people to reach. I already showed you in my previous comment those demands. Your standard will lead to silence, and the review you were criticizing was not misinformation. The omission that you treated as malicious can be attributed to ignorance. Hence, I kept asking whether reviewers should know everything about reviewing by your standard. You never answered. And I quote him, I don't believe these cases were brought up in the discussion, so I'm unsure how you didn't refute these cases is an example of shifting goalposts. Because you kept asserting that most EULA is either unenforceable or willingly not enforced. My Disney and other examples show that such is not the case. Actually, you already employed the goal shifting already earlier by saying to the effect of, even if it's enforced, the probability is 1 in 1 billion anyway. So goal shifting is you retreat to other arguments without admitting that the previous arguments has been what is the more gentle word for debunk? Disputed, I guess. I don't want to use destroyed, but or the argument is weak. So he kept saying, it cannot be enforced. That's one. When he's shown that it can be enforced, he retreat to, okay, it's not unenforceable, but company don't enforce that anyway. But if they do, it's 1 in a 1 billion chance anyway. Notice any similarity to a certain mantra, the narcissist mantra, like, I didn't hurt you. If I did, I didn't mean to. If I mean to, it wasn't that bad. If it was that bad, you deserve it, or something like that. The narcissist mantra is the clearest example of goalpost shifting. So for people who are not familiar with what it is, I recommend using the mantra as an example for whether your goalpost shifting. Like this person never concede that my arguments actually weakens his argument for whatever it's on, but who cares? And I quote him. However, since you brought them up and without looking into details of the cases, I said, I brought all that up to show you that companies do enforce them, hence contradicting your assertion of the EULA says what the publisher claims the right to do, not what the publisher will actually do. I have no idea how he doesn't see that. He seems to forget his own argument for some reason. Like, he's insufferable. Well, he was, but I don't know what kind of a person he actually is. Some from another unrelated service, like restaurant in Disneyland, yet instead use Disney Plus EULA. But okay. I quote only the small part of his essay. But you could argue that in the absence of the EULA, the companies would simply refuse to provide the services the customers purchase at all. I love that very much because are you arguing that unsustainable business that cannot operate ethically should not be a business? Because I agree. Yeah, thank you. True. Me too. And then I further quote more. But whether or not a EULA exists, a company can file a lawsuit against an individual for leaving a negative review claiming slander. The lawsuit would have been brought EULA or no. I suspect the results will have been the same. Or suspect, you say. EULA or not, this is not an EULA problem. But having the text explicitly written in EULA gives more credibility by arguing that the users are consented to this term. The mere credible threat can induce actions or lack thereof. If you think some EULA terms are not important or has no practical effect, why write any of them? Why waste lawyers' time with it? You keep retreating to the hypothetical of even without EULA, they could still sue. But that is just being unrealistic since companies choose to have those EULA. Therefore, it is beneficial to them somehow. Also, we all have heard of nukes. Nobody uses them. Everyone fears them. Sometimes the deterrence is the point. The cross sits there, unused, yet feared, and that's enough for some companies. And then I quoted M. It is at least arguable that binding arbitration is better for the defendant here, while arbitration is much less favorable for the defendant. It isn't completely unfair. And I was so confused. Are we going for it is bad, but not that bad? Do choices not matter anymore? Do you think the company chose arbitration because they care about the defendant? What even is this argument? Also, no, that was not the Walmart case I was talking about. I meant this one. I don't know which one you were talking about, and no, it's not your fault. So the actual case is about a family who are black. They got falsely accused of shoplifting. They got held like in Walmart, and that brings shame upon them. So they want to, the family want to sue Walmart in civil court, but because one of them says, because one of them drive for its Spark program, a gig delivery service like Amazon Prime or Instacart. To start working, she needed to accept Spark's terms, which forced her to agree to arbitrate all disputes she would ever have against Walmart. So she agrees to working in a service, but she's suing for another reason, not related to service at all. Yet they bring up the, or at least try to enforce the EULA. Really cool. So it's like Disney Plus 2.0, I guess. Or I don't know which one is the 2.0. So if you choose to sue Walmart and you agreed to the other services term, but if you do not, force arbitration. The quote M, which I and the OP is attempting to argue against, is that this EULA is unusually bad. So I say, all the reviewer did was paraphrasing many sections of the EULA, and I am arguing in order to show you that in order to satisfy you and make the review says not unusually bad by your standard would involve burdening all reviewers. Would it be bad faith if this EULA is the first they have ever read and they find it problematic? How many games EULA should they read? Should they only read the right one, the only harsh one? What if they read Larian Studios or Indie Devs EULA? Does that still count? Or should everyone just ask you before commenting on EULA? Just to be sure? Or do every one of us have to put in a disclaimer to say, this EULA is also in the so and so games. If I press a dodge low mechanic, do I also have to put in a disclaimer to say, this mechanic is also in the so and so games? Which I don't do. If I don't do that, would you jump in and cry misinformation? If not, why the EULA topic gets special privilege? Such are questions that I kept asking you to make you realize that your standards essentially would be gatekeeping the review. And then I quote him. That argument was in fact advanced when those laws were proposed, so Zaytri decided that those costs were acceptable given the benefits. And then I say, yet a bad review to the game you might cherish is a bridge too far for you, apparently. Like, wow, cars, games, they're all the same. I get it now. They're not even the same. My good man, what are you talking about? And I quoted him, but reduced risk also mean lower costs for consumers, so it isn't all downside. I said, you mean the company pass on savings to consumers? That is a very confident assertion. You are the one who asserted, correct generally, that companies maximize profits. Company will charge you an arm and a leg and your feet if you are willing to pay. The cost is not the entire calculus. I have no idea why he even argued for that. No wonder some comment says he's a libertarian, but whatever. And then I continue because I didn't hit the character limit, but they just don't let me post all of them at once, probably because this section was too long, so it makes the overall height of the comment too high, I guess. Fair. So continue. I say, no, I quote him. I say, action under EULAs only occur when millions of dollars at stake, a very rare occurrence. And you said what I quoted above, that seems to be the same thing. I say, no, you said to me, this is intended to be used in extreme circumstances where the customer has earned millions of dollars and craft on once a cut. So now I have to argue against multiple versions of you. You said the quarter sentence, which I mean millions of dollars at stake, to someone else, the guy, but then said differently to me. So let me show you. Where is it again? I think it was way before that. But he says this is intended to be used in extreme circumstances where the customer has earned millions of dollars and craft on one account. This is replied to me. But about the stake, he replied, not to me. Millions of dollars at stake. He replied to someone else. Cool. Very cool. Thank you. But whatever, it does not matter because in the end, the lawsuit that Disney tried to block with Disney Plus was Piccolo is seeking. I copied this from in its entirety from the news site, by the way. Piccolo is seeking damages in excess of, oh my god, $50,000 pursuant to Florida's Wrongful Death Act. Does this look like millions of dollars to you? I don't know. You tell me. I am bad at math. Hear me? I fail math all the time. in excess probably does not shoot up to 1 million. Would you like to amend your third point about this is intended to be used in extreme circumstances where the customer has earned millions of Dolulus and Grafton once a cat? Also, you kept arguing for these narrow circumstances to dismiss concerns. But why don't the company just narrow down the scope in their own EULA? Why should an unpaid reviewer be saddled with more responsibility than a for-profit company? Of all standard differences you have, you only have it is the industry standard to credibly stand on. But a game like SN2 having EULA like PUBG would be odd, correct? And why should this company follow the industry standard? Is someone pointing a gun to their head? Why does a company get the right to write whatever they want in the EULA, but non-professional reviewers have to jump through hoops to actually criticize it? Do you not see the power asymmetry between these two sides? The reviewer also made no claim whether they have a problem with each and every point of EULA or with the cumulative effect of every point combined. So I don't even know which anchor you find issues with. Yeah, because I have no idea. Like, he doesn't say that, oh my god, all of them are horrible. Like, it could be like, oh my god, there's a lot of them later. So, but we will never know. He didn't say that, and I don't even care. I mean, it is his right to decide what's bad. At this point, just industry standard should not stop anyone from commenting on poorly thought out EULA, especially if there is no misinformation. You know? And then I quoted him. Oh, it shows that I believe that I'm right. And I respond, and I mean it as well. I respect your conviction. Like, I think no matter where the conviction comes from, I will always respect those people, even if the conviction comes from something stupid. But that's okay. I am not arguing specifically about SN2. I don't care about SN2 nor any particular companies. I am not advocating for a boycott. I do not want the game to fail. I am advocating for people to voice their concerns without having to do a literature review. I am arguing whether we can apply your thought frameworks for other games or products, but yours are loaded with I have no evidence, yet I believe they are bad faith dismissals, assumptions, and generosities to only the side of company. This pattern raises questions about logical consistency. I was about to write, it shows you have poor logical reasoning, but I think that was too harsh, so I have to sanitize that a bit. A framework that requires no evidence to accuse a reviewer of bad faith, but demands exhaustive proof from anyone who criticizes a company is not a framework for truth. It's a framework for protecting status quo. Or quo. I have no idea. And yes, I will concede right here, I cannot and will not convince you that there is a possibility that the review might not be bad faith. I too cannot read their minds. You admitted to not reason yourself into that position, so there is no way I can reason you out of it. Like I wasn't trying to be mean, by the way, when I'm saying that, oh my god, you're arguing from no evidence. I'm trying to nudge the guy back to reality that you kinda need some evidence to assert something, right? he's weird. And he respond, alright? And I already said I knew how he would answer this question. A button that gives $10, but 1 in a 1 billion chance of instant death. Hear me? How many times would you push it? He answered, I'm putting out this very one specific item to respond to because I think it illustrates the point very well. I'm going to translate that for you. It's the only one that he can answer without conceding that he's wrong. That's it. Like he could just say, oh, it was misinformation because there's this point and that and that. But no, he just only answered this one. And apparently it's the only one that I lay down as a trap too. Because I knew that he would answer in the way that he would win. Because in the end, it's a hypothetical. So, of course he would answer this. Given the button that a 100% chance of giving me $10 and a 1 in 1 billion chance in giving me per place, that I will press the button as many times as I could, 24/7, and thank whoever told me about the button. I mean, yeah. It's a hypothetical. So he can say anything. He wasn't at risk of actually dying. I knew this would happen. But I did betted him to answer me. I am an inquisitor. Hear me? He cites the statistic. That's the first, finally. Well, I don't even care. For every 100 million miles driven, it is expected that 1.2 people will die in the US in 2023. For 1 billion miles driven, 12 people are expected to die. Alternatively, if 1 billion people drive a single mile, I actually don't know how. What is the average miles do people drive in their daily life? I actually don't know. Probably not 2 billion. So, okay. Alternatively, if 1 billion people drive a single mile, the expectation is that 12 of them will die in a fatal car accident while driving the single mile. I don't know if that's true. I mean, I'm not good at math, as I said, so probability is not my strong suit as well. In casual conversation, a post in the internet in the forum that isn't talking about math, this will be described as a 12 in a billion chance of dying each mile. If you dig into the actual statistics, you will quickly realize that it's far more complex than that. Not all miles are created equal. Oh, okay, are you undermining this? Because not all EULA are created equal. Hear me? Just saying. Nor are all drivers. And depending on how you analyze the data, you can come up with much higher and much lower risk. But this is a forum dedicated to the discussion of math. And the 12 deaths per billion miles driven is useful as a benchmark for how much risk do people assume by driving passenger cars in the US. I'm willing to pay. Actually, to be fair, I should have framed this question as, I don't know, like harm, grievous harm, or whatever, right? Because now he treated to die. But not all car accidents lead to death. Some car accidents lead you to amputation, for example, or lifelong injuries. But whatever, I have way better repertoire than that. I'm willing to pay upfront for the car, ongoing for gas and maintenance, for the opportunity to drive many miles. If you're offering to pay me for assuming to lower risk, then yeah, obviously I'm good for that. If you want to dig into the weeds here, it could be argued, oh my god, he's saying that I should only press button once a minute. And at highway speed, 1 mile minute per minute is about right. And only for the same amount of time that I drive per day. So if I typically drive for 35 minutes a day, I should only be willing to press the button for 35 minutes in 24-hour period. If I want to match the risk that I assume from driving. But such arguments completely miss the point. which is that there is a certain amount of risk associated with anything that you do. I'm not arguing that. But what the hell are you talking about? Whether that be eating a sandwich, watching TV, going to bed, in order to function at all, who must have learned to dismiss low probability events from the individual risk assessment. My argument is that the risk graphed on and or UW choosing to view the EULA against you falls into this category. Right, we'll see about that. If you feel differently, that's fine. And in a different discussion on this forum, I had a discussion about the same topic and ended up saying, yep, if that's how you choose to manage risk in your life, more power to you. Or if that's excellent English, and you can absolutely leave reviews, make posts. Yeah, absolutely leave reviews, he says. Okay. Make posts and generally advocate that this is how other people should live their life. But you shouldn't be shocked when other people push back, arguing that the risk is small enough to be ignored. That's not what you're doing. You're saying that the review is misinformation. Don't silently retweet, you people. In regards to the rest of your message, I'll pass on responding to it because I can't rebut it. My arguments was weak, Lamau. As we are back to arguing about how I argue. How is it arguing about how you argue when I respond directly to your claim about EULA? Rather than also the misinformation too. This person, which is concerning because he make accusation of dishonesty and lies without evidence. Do you want to work under this kind of person? Just saying. Do you want to be friends with this kind of person? Just saying. I hope for the sake of people close to him that he's only this unreasonable in this discussion and nowhere else. I really hope so. I hope he was like this because of his immense love for the game. Like, I really hope so. Hear me? But I can see the possibility. But I'm really concerned. Rather than the substance of what is being discussed, and to the extent that is the case, you're arguing that all EULAs are bad. I didn't say that. I never said that. I never insinuated that. I even said in my reply that reading Larian's EULA and IndieDev EULA might not count by your standard. So stop putting words into people's mouth. He put words into reviewer's mouth too about, oh my god, the review says that you should move on from Subnautica 2 to play other AAA games. The review doesn't say that at all. He has a bad habit of putting words into people's mouth. I take issues with that, even though you can just Control F and find out whether I speak that or insinuate that at all. This ironically, this is a dishonest behavior coming from someone who accused others of dishonesty. Hear me? Good job, you. Which I agree with 100%. If I was appointed the supreme dictator of Earth, I don't care, then abolish all EULAs would likely be on my list of things to do. I'm not even arguing this point at all, but okay. Whatever. They never should have been created in the first place. If they didn't exist, digital goods would still be bought and sold, likely in smaller quantities at higher prices. Why? Because of the trickle-down economy that you asserted? Seriously? So you're not going to argue against my argument that companies are profit driven, so even if the operating cost is lower, they wouldn't reduce prices anyway. He just sidestepped that and continue to assert that point anyway. Amazing. Why deal with arguments that you don't like when you can just sidestep them and double down on them, Lamau? What a hallmark evidence of quality logical listener. Wow, I am appalled by this, but okay. And to like he doesn't want, he says, oh, I don't want to argue about how I argue. Okay, well, you don't even address this at all, but all right. Like it's clear that arguing about how I argue is just some nonsense deflection to rationalize that, nah, I'm not gonna answer any of your point. Nah. Like, yeah, so it's a metaphorical hands to your ears and then that's what it is. It's a horrible. I'm not saying he's a horrible person, by the way. I'm saying that his conduct in this discussion in particular is horrible. And to the degree that EULAs deal with real problems, the correct solution are new laws that are mutually agreed upon as being the best compromise between protecting the interests of IP creators and protecting the lives of consumers. Yeah, and how do you get that without reviews, criticisms? What are you on about? Oh, before I sign off though, I'm getting the distinct impression that most, if not all, of your concern is about the substance of the discussion, or even by debating tactics. No, I know your minds. I can read your minds. Beep, 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 beep. Your actual concern is the subject line of the original post, namely, someone wrote a 50-page thesis about the EULA after 0.6 hours. I destroyed it with facts. I'm getting the distinct impression that if the subject line had been instead, I respectfully disagree with a Steam review and dissent, then all will be fine. You are missing the point big time, my guy. But okay, I rebut that later. The all will be fine, but because the OP uses loaded terms like destroy and take down, the OP and I, by extension, are arguing that the original review is bad in the sense of someone should delete this review, and that's not my position. I just think they are misinformation. I just thought they are dishonesty. I just think they are lies. I just think they are exaggerations. Like, come on, man. You forgot what you said? Really? That's not my position, and I don't think it's the OP's position either. Instead, both the OP and I believe that the review is misleading. It presents... Oh, now it's misleading. Alright? Not misinformation. Not lies. Not exaggerations. What did I tell you about goalpost shifting? It presents the worst case scenario as the only case. No, it just say what are in the EULA. He even says that some are not applicable under California law, which I presume that that's where they live. Without additional context, it is possible, even likely, that someone would decide to avoid purchasing SN2 when they would have purchased SN2 if they had more information. If I saw a review on a hypothetical car manufacturer website that stated you shouldn't buy this car because if you drive it, you will get in a fatal car accident, then I would believe that this is a poorly written review and might argue against it. That's not what the review is saying, but okay. Take it 100% literally. It's technically correct. If you drive any car for long enough, you are indeed certain to get in a fatal accident because you will eventually die of old age while driving, and that is a fatal accident. But this is an absurd reading. Any rational reader of the hypothetical review would read it as, you shouldn't buy this car because you're more likely to get in a fatal accident. Yes, versus other cars, and that is a debatable opinion. To be crystal clear, the reviewer isn't obligated to provide additional information. All that, but remember what he said to me? When I first asked what the reviewer should do, Hime, you remember that? You say... Wow, it's so long. Quoting EULA, he was attacking would be good start, or at least linking to the EULA, and where appropriate, conceding that specific EULA terms are fairly common among games from Triple A publishers. Wow, that was a huge shift from that. Without acknowledging that, oops, I did say that. Oopsie daisy. Nope. Okay. The reviewer isn't obligated to provide additional information, nor is the reviewer required to even know that additional information exists. But if someone comes along and says, well, actually this car is among the best performing cars in crash testing and contains numerous features to keep the driver and passenger safe, this isn't a goal to censor the original review. It's just a review of the review. That's not even what Subnautica is, my guy. What? Okay. Wow, you... Way too... What is the opposite of Strawman? Steelman, I guess? That's not even what you are going for, my guy. To the extent that your concern is that I am calling for the review that stated this discussion to be deleted or the reviewer to suffer material consequences. I didn't say that. What? Okay. Something more than I feel bad because I posted a review that contained inaccurate information. Oh, what is inaccurate then? Then read the thing. Summarize the thing. What is inaccurate, my guy? That I do not hold that position. The entirety... Wait, so you mean they're not inaccurate or what's going on? The entirety of my objection relates to the reviewer's implied message of you shouldn't purchase SN2 because these specific terms in the EULA are unacceptable to anyone. Did he say that? Did they say that? I read EULA before quitting and refunding the whole thing. Here's some highlights to laugh and cry about. I mean, he didn't say that anyone else should do or not do that, but you know, he could read my mind. So maybe he could read the other people's mind too. He could read the minds of the companies too. That's true. He's a superhero, is what I'm saying. Where's it again? Blah 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 blah. I do not believe that is an accurate statement for a range of reasons that have been discussed extensively. What? What reason? Like, if the reason is he lacks context, but then you say they are not obligated to provide additional information. What is your problem here? Or when you say discussed extensively, you meant when you say there was no evidence that the reviewer was trying to smear the game. Okay. Well, I did say that I wouldn't reason him out of his position that he did not reason himself into. So, wait a second. Is it wrong to disagree with me? Whether that is because you have read my comments and found them wanting, or simply because you disagree. And anyone and everyone remains free to post uninformed or misleading reviews as they see fit. Even if I were granted the ability to delete the review in question, I wouldn't use it. I mean, I wouldn't know. Although I might add a more context section that contains my opinions as to the points raised on the review. Yeah, I feel like you're trying to damage control or sanitize your point here. Hear me? So this is so far my last. Well, that was M's last comment that was directed to me. So I make my last comment so far as well. I quote M. I'm putting out this one very specific item to respond to because I think it illustrates the point very well. So I said, because I actually want this to be over. There's no convincing this kind of people. So whatever. Like these people, I'm going to say this first. These people remind me of religious leader, like priests, bishops, or anything. Like, trust me, bro. I can interpret the holy scripture. Hear me? Trust me, bro. Like, I trust that this review is bad faith. Evidence? No. I think it is bad faith. Therefore, it is. That, ladies and gentlemen, is called circular logic. Hear me? It's like asking, how do you know a holy scripture is accurate? They would say, because holy scripture says so. And people actually believe this logic. Fair enough. Like, it's not like I can do anything about that. So I quoted M, and then I said this after writing long essay as a response to me. I will be generous and give you a graceful exit by letting the implications of silence do the work instead. But I address my main point. I quote when M says, no, your actual concern is the subject line, namely, someone of the OB. Someone wrote a 50-page thesis about EULA after 0.6 hours. I destroyed it with facts. I'm getting the distinct impression. If the line had been instead, I respectfully disagree with Steam review and dissent. So that, like, he missed what I was saying by a mile, even though my last comment explicitly asked him, where are the misinformation? Where are the exaggeration? Where are the outright lies? Yet, he thought that I have problems with the title for some reason. Maybe because I stated in my first comment that, yeah, this topic invites hostility. Yes, that's what I said. But I didn't say that I have problem with that. I'm not going to turn police. No. Like when I say free speech for reviewers, I also mean free speech for the OP or whatever. What I take issue with, I compliment your decent attempt at strawmanning me. But no, I am calling you out specifically because it seems that I have to be really blunt. I can't, like like this person for some reason. I don't know if it's because of them being IT guy and working with codes. Everything is literal, I guess. So I guess you have to spell it out for them, or they will never understand for some reason. It's amazing. Like I'm genuinely entertained and frustrated at the same time. So I said, I compliment your decent attempt at strawmanning me, but no, I am calling you out specifically because you yourself said all this to characterize the review, contrary to the evidence. Emphasis mine. And so I quote them saying, if the only way you can protect people from falling under the spell of evil Grafton is by exaggerating or outright lying, you shouldn't be surprised when people call you out on your exaggerations, lies. So, if your standard is instead, everyone should stand silent in the face of what appears to be misinformation because they might be wrong, then I disagree. So I have to, like, I don't know how, I feel like if I get more blunt or explicit, it feels like I'm patronizing him at this point. Like, it feels like I'm viewing him as like a young child, even though I think I believe, ironically without evidence, but based on his confidence and stated experience, he seems to be older than me, for sure. To see a grown man, or woman, I don't know, who's older than me, to conduct in such a poor manner, poor logical reasoning, I feel a second-hand embarrassment. Hear me? Like all I did was basic logical reasoning. Accuse someone with evidence. If you demand people to do that, what are the implications in the future? Like, they were all basic listening. So I say, accusations without evidence do not foster constructive discourse. You do not have to be a pro-consumer advocate to see this. Actually, this entire thread should have been clear enough in this regard, because people keep calling him corporate shields or libertarian something. I don't know. I wouldn't know whether he's like a corporate shields or getting paid off by the corporates or they're libertarian. I don't know. I don't even care. I don't like labeling people as a label. So I like to, like, my bar for labeling people is very high. I have to be sure that he is suitable for the label that I'm going to give them. Hear me? And I quote him. To be crystal clear, the reviewer isn't obligated to provide additional information, nor is the reviewer required to even know what additional information exists. So I respond, so why call the review? In addition to what I already quoted, emphasis mine, and I quoted him again. Both I and the OP believe that the initial review was written the way it was intentionally to make the EULA issues look as bad as possible, not as an honest mistake, but as a deliberate attempt to hurt the popularity of SN2 for reasons that have absolutely nothing to do with the EULA. I have no evidence that this is true, but that is my belief. Oh boy. Anyway. Yeah, how does he know that? Intentionally to make the game look bad. He knows that somehow. Hear me? And also quote some when he's responding to someone else as well. the review is, at the very least, exaggerated to an absurd degree. At worst, this is an outright lie, he says. So I respond, the review was an overall accurate paraphrase of the actual EULA. I mean, he didn't dispute or disagree with me when I show him them that they all correspond to all the numbers, all the sections in the TOS, and there weren't context left behind. Hear me? So I assume that he agrees on that. Because if he's not, then that's on him. I'm not going to do the entire homework for him. I wasted my time enough for this. There was no comparison to other games EULA. Now you say they are not obligated to provide or no additional information. So by your own admission, there is nothing wrong about the review, but you kept calling it misinformation or lie for some reason I cannot fathom. And all that despite the review did give additional context beyond what a reasonable player should do. The review says a lot of this would maybe not even be applicable under California law, but who knows what is? And in any case, it's worth thinking about. Stay safe out there, kids. Wow, he did say that it might not be enforceable. Apparently that's not enough for him. Good job. So I want to really bang on this point so much I have to separate them with these dashes. You want to provide more context or explanations? That is excellent. Thank you for your works, and I mean it. Or even though we will never know, even whether the context is true. Oh well. But you can do that, or do so, without accusing a normal, reasonable review of misinformation, lies, exaggerations, bad faith. You are and the OP false accusations on a normal review discourage normal people from leaving normal reviews. That was my entire point. Hear me? All those discussions that I made, all the comments, it was all just to tell him that what a grand waste of time on my part. Also, and then I quote him again, you are arguing that all EUL is a bad, which I agree with 100%. I never said that. Did you see me chat? What watcher? Did you see me say that? Did you see me insinuate that? All I advocated for was that reviewers be allowed to voice the grievances based on a reasonable and accurate reading of the EULA without facing impossible standards or false accusations. I entertain your enforceability arguments to show that reviewers should be able to voice such concerns without being dismissed. Please do not put words into my mouth. Please. Now you are misrepresenting me. You know what's funny? The previous argument I had with the Redditor last year did the exact same thing. They put words into my mouth for some reason. I never said anything like that, and they're like, you shouldn't have, but you're wrong, you said blah blah blah, and I was like, I didn't. What? I continue, but at least you finally retreat to this. Instead, both the OP and I believe that the review is misleading. So from outright lie, bad faith to misleading, there's a big gap there. Then again, I did concede to not reason you out of the position any further. And I quote more of M. Pass on responding to it as we are back to arguing about how I argue. So I said, I was calling you out on your double standard to the detriment of the viewers. My apology for not being blunt enough. It is a flaw of mine, I guess. Like I think maybe I was too indirect, I guess. And then I addressed the other issue. M says, given a baton that a 100% chance of giving me 10 dollars and a 1 in 1 billion chance in giving me per place, then I will press the baton as many times as I could, 24/7, and thank whoever told me about the baton. So I laid this trap because I know that he will bite it, although I didn't think that this entire trap induced him to answer me based on his own word, because he seems to only want to answer this point. So I laid the trap because I want to show him how to properly argue. I wonder who is the real educator here. So then I said, then I must explicitly concede that my hypothetical backfires on me. See how easy it is to acknowledge when my argument is weak? There should be no shame in it. Yeah, I made a hypothetical. It doesn't work. So I have to say it properly. Like, okay, I acknowledge your arguments. It makes sense. However, this hypothetical baton probability is truly random, and the same can be said about driving cars that you brought up. No sane person strategically weaponizes traffic accidents for their own gain, unless we're talking Hitman Agent 47s. Like, how does he? Also remember, 1 in 1 billion chance is his make-up number. We don't know what are the real chance. We don't know, like, EULA doesn't lead to only lawsuit. As I said, mere deterrence is enough to be an effect of EULA. Like, this 1 in 1 billion chance, like, it comes from his buttocks. Like, it doesn't come from true statistics. Stats? Hear me? English. So I continue, because just in case, well, nobody weaponizes traffic fatality for their own gain. But what about insurance scam? I kinda expect that, so I'm just gonna preempt that. Insurance scam might happen, but with dash cams and CCTVs, people can protect themselves by sorting it out with the police fairly quickly. No expensive lawyers required. No dragged out suspense. There is no cheap, quick, and easy protection from EULA abuse. Cars are required for work and daily life. Traffic accidents are ultimately accidents. Accidents do happen despite efforts to the contrary. Even abuses are easily and cheaply preventable. Unfair EULA terms are not required for work and daily life. EULA can be rewritten to be narrower in scope. Harsh EULA enforcements are not accident. Abuses are not easily preventable and motivated by profits. I don't know how to make this more clear. Do I have to make it a haiku. So anyway, finally I get my answer to what should the reviewer have done. The answer is, well, I mean, at least according to the guy, exactly as they did. Hear me? Okay, calm down, you. So yeah, what does this debate show? It shows that I wasted my time. But yeah, so to summarize, to conclude, so all I did was just basic logical reasoning. Now, I'm not saying that these people are stupid. I actually believe that they are intelligent. I believe that they are smart people. But for whatever reason, they anchor or outsource their identity or their souls into something else. I don't know what it is for this M person. I think maybe they, or he, maybe he, I don't know if he's outsourcing his identity on EULA, the game, or the OP himself. I like how every time he he doesn't concede that he's wrong, but every time he concedes that something is wrong, it's always the OP is wrong. He never said, I am wrong, as in the M guy is wrong. So there's a natural human element at play there. My advice is that if you sense that a person did not listen themselves into a position, just leave. But to be fair, again, I went into the discussion because I just want to know, like ultimately, what standard is acceptable. But for some reason, everything went into downward spiral of accusing the reviewer of lies, exaggeration, misinformation. And I was like, I'm not gonna have that. How do people just throw around such accusation without any shred of evidence? Like, all he says was, I think the reviewers want to smear the game. I think the reviewer want to say that Crafton is evil. Like, that's a huge stretch. Like, I feel like the stretch is as you know what? Actually, I think saying that this M guy is a corporate shield makes more sense than saying that the reviewer hates the game or Crafton. Like, literally, I documented all the evidence that this guy coincidentally happens to align with corporate benefits like a lot. But I'm not calling them a shield because there are some twisted logic from pro-consumer point of view to accidentally protect the corporate. So again, they have not passed my bar to accuse them of a label yet. Anyway, again, I did this stream so that to document what I said, what he said, so that he can, even by accident, delete or edit some part of his comments or arguments. So I'm sorry that today we don't have gamings. We shall return back to gamings tomorrow. Hear me? I still have time, so I think I can address more of that, I guess. Or maybe I should just scroll through comments just to kinda save it into the videos so nobody can doctor their their own arguments, not even me. But we do see like the ships, right? Oh, I destroyed them with facts. And then, no, I'm not a lawyer. I don't know why people are raging against me. Like, I don't know, like is German language that different from English? Like at some point, language barrier doesn't explain all of them, I think. But that was fun, and I hope other people learn from this nonsense. Mainly, don't waste time on this nonsense, I guess. Oh, Libertarian Paladin, that's what they called him. And they accused the review of fear, uncertainty, doubt, or whatever, fear mongering, blah blah blah. Like, how do you know? How do you accuse people without evidence? Should we do that in legal court too? Your Honor, I have no evidence that he defrauded me, but his wife was negative. That's why I asserted that that he's defrauding me. Somehow, how does that work? And again, thank you for people who somehow, I don't think they watch my stream, but just in case, thank you for the awards. Hear me? To my comments. Hear me? At least I feel hurt. I was so stressed. Like, wait, what if my logic is the one broken? But I guess not. But yeah, I wish I'm in European Union. I didn't think that it would take 4 hours just to read through all that. I thought I could go through the Reddit as well. I'll probably do that as a video instead of a live stream. I didn't want to do live stream, but again, I felt a sense of urgency, so I have to do it immediately. So sorry for interrupting normal programs. Hear me? But rest assured, we shall back to gaming as normal tomorrow. You will find more of me being I don't want to say crazy, but joyful. Yeah, that sounds better. Let's call it that. Hear me? So anyway, I think that's it. No more point to make. Well then, allow me to edit here for today. So thank you very much for what. I'm not finished yet. So sorry, I shouldn't have said that. Oh, and I use the, for highlighting, I use the Modifine on Firefox to, so these are all I highlighted, in case I want to make a point. Hear me? Good God, this is long. Sorry, I'm going to drink some tea. I talk too much. I talk for like 4 hours straight. I am draining my vocal cord, I guess. This tea have 1% sugar, by the way. I shouldn't drink this at night. Very bad health for me. Okay, that's it. We've gone through everything. So, yeah, that was fun. But with that, allow me to edit here for today. So thank you very much for watching, and we'll be seeing you the next time. Please take care of yourselves, and goodbye.